Our dear Abby Normals,
Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
the podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I'm Naomi.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're three anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
I was so anxious I forgot my name.
we organized our intro this time. Be kind.
What do you think about these? You know how on Amazon you can do a 5-pack of
Right.
glasses
We got things on it though.
for $19.99?
Oh yeah,
This is one of the 5.
that's one of the 5. I like the
don't trust that at that price they're actual
Like
blue light blocking.
prescription.
Or is that what I was gonna say? Are they helping you? Like, are they prescription?
Well, they're
just blue
readers,
light.
but they're supposed to be blue light. But I don't know if I can trust it at that price.
Too good to be true.
I think it's too good to be true.
Possibly.
Do you feel less drained after being on the computer all the time?
This is my first time wearing them.
Oh, they look
Just now.
nice, especially
Thank
the
you.
white sweater. By the way, nice
Mhm.
cable knit sweater matching
We should
action.
have Sarah in
also-
the middle because she's wearing black.
Oh, that
Right.
would have been a nice
well.
contrast.
So it could be a reverse Oreo with
Oh, yeah.
fluffing and cookie.
Is
Right.
there such a thing?
This
We
is
should make
just
that.
like a cookie
Yeah.
with overflow of marshmallow over the top. That's
This is like a double stuff where somebody took the top cookie off and threw it away because it's garbage
or ate it on its own.
or ate it.
Gave it away.
So
Yeah.
tonight it's our 170th episode, and every 10 we've been like reviewing
Oh my
a
gosh,
movie or
so
a show
close. We're
or a thing.
We're getting so close to 200.
We
You
are.
did not cheers.
I'm sorry.
Cheers to one.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy Hanukkah. So tonight we're going to be reviewing the 1963 Alfred Hitchcock directed film, The Birds. So if you have not seen that, stop, pause this, go watch it, and then come back.
It is 2 hours. Slot the time.
Yeah.
Slot it.
You can order it on Prime Video.
Yep. And if you have
That's
credits,
what I did too.
credits
Yeah.
on purchases, then it's technically free.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Don't get the 2-day, get the 4-day, and then you get credit.
For shipping. Yeah.
So I prepared a little like scene by scene to walk us through it, but I wanted to start with a little bit of background, as I do. So this film stars Jessica Tandy as Mitch Brenner's mom, and I love fried green tomatoes.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So Jessica Tandy plays
I like the mom a lot.
Mary Stuart Masterson
Mhm.
in older age.
Did you? And I'm curious. So I watched it on Amazon on my computer. And so it gave like the
The X-ray
play
view.
button. Yeah, where it's like all the things that were wrong or what happened in those scenes. That was really interesting.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
It was interesting. I like
So Jessica Tandy's been in a ton of other stuff, Driving Miss Daisy, lots of stuff.
it.
Tippi Hedren stars as the blonde, rich and attractive Melanie. And coincidentally is her daughter is Melanie Griffith.
Oh.
And Melanie Griffith's daughter is Dakota Johnson of Shades of Grey, 50
Oh,
Shades of
yeah.
Grey fame. And what's the Johnson? The Dudo, they had also a movie star. So Melanie Griffith and him used to be together.
Dang it.
Something Johnson. They made Dakota Johnson.
Oh, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know the dad.
You would know him. He's famous. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
Dang it.
So it also stars Suzanne
it
Peschet.
up.
Well, you can look it up.
Yeah.
As Annie Hayworth, Mitch's brunette and beautiful jilted ex.
Mhm.
And she went on
She's
to
very
do
pretty.
lots of
Yeah,
cool stuff.
I really
such
liked
as-
her hair. in it.
She was
Oh
really
my gosh, she
pretty.
was so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sneeze. Excuse me. Such as the Bob
That's okay.
Newhart show, and then it starred Rod Taylor as Mitch Brenner, and
Mhm.
he went on to do or was in lots of other stuff like Giant, the James Dean movie, and The Time Machine. He plays the dashing lawyer, and Veronica Cartwright plays as Mitch's kid sister Kathy Brenner, and she went on and was in all kinds of cool stuff like Witches of Eastwick and
loved
The
that
First
movie.
Alien. So really an
Dawn
all-star
Johnson.
cast. Dawn Johnson, yes, Miami Vice,
Mhm.
Naomi Vice. You know, I ran for vice president in high school, and that was my campaign, Naomi Vice.
That's great.
Did you win?
No, actually, I got in a lot of trouble because my
Were you sued?
campaign slogan was "Life's a beach," and that was too edgy in the
Oh
80s.
my
Oh,
god.
but that was like prime Baywatch time. Like,
Well, I
It was
made
the
my logo
theme.
look just like
Miami
Naomi Vice, Miami Vice,
Oh,
the
Life's
a
same
Beach.
font,
That's
and Life's a
perfect.
Beach. And my whole thing was like, gonna make everything more chill, like we're at the beach.
Mhm.
I love that.
That's
But
a
I
good
got in a lot of
selling
trouble.
point,
I
with the
hand
kids.
painted all these signs. I had to take them all down.
Aw, that's sad.
That was the beginning of the
preposterous.
end.
I have to tell you,
Really.
I watched a random Baywatch episode because it was just on regular TV,
Like new Baywatch?
old Baywatch, and
Janice.
Hasselhoff Baywatch.
Oh yeah.
And he is highly inappropriate when talking to like 6-year-old girls. It's like,
Oh.
it's just like,
Hoff.
it's like, don't, she's a baby.
Was that when Pamela Anderson was on it?
Yeah, yeah. So it was just, it's very
I've never watched an
not
episode of
appropriate.
Baywatch.
Never, ever.
Never.
They do a lot of running.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them. I've seen that. I've seen the running.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of running.
Slow-mo running.
Yeah.
Saving.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
want to see myself in a bathing suit slow-mo running.
In like one of those one pieces that like is clearly like wedged up
Like,
too
over
high.
the
Like,
hips.
That was
Yeah.
popular then.
right.
The-
Where,
where
yeah,
the-
over the hip joints.
And then really narrow in the front.
Right. Yeah. That's, I'm like,
You gotta really shave if you
That's
don't
a-
want to be
well,
rocking the.
maybe was waxing a thing back then? Wasn't that the time of the Bush? I don't
Hmm.
know.
No.
Yeah.
No?
Well,
No?
no, that's more like
70s? Okay. Sorry. Thanks for clarifying. For you all to know.
The history.
So.
The history of the Bush.
Bushes
Different
are-
topic,
but
different
bushes have
day.
been back for a long time. But yeah, different. Yeah, we digress. I could go on and on about bushes.
We do.
Bodega Bay is a real place in California. I've
Oh, I
never
didn't know
been there, which is interesting because it's not that
Hmm.
far from San Francisco.
It looked very quaint.
Yeah, and it's still quaint. It still has a population of less than 1,000.
I hear a lot
Oh.
of beach towns are like that because they really rely on like tourist season and then otherwise they suck.
Well, the worst
As
sushi
far
I
as
ever
industry.
had
Yeah.
was, I think it was Lincoln City. It was like
Oh,
the
I love
first,
Lincoln City. That's where I got this this tattoo.
Oh,
That one. It's
cool.
Lincoln City.
the first city you get to in California when you're going down 101, and it was inedible sushi. I couldn't even get it.
Inedible.
oh,
Ugh.
no, that sounds bad.
On the coast too.
I think they're a little inland.
Mm.
Bodega Bay, I mean, it's coast-ish.
Closer than Spokane. I'm always scared of Spokane sushi.
Sushi.
And I'm like, you better get that fresh.
Bodega Bay has been the film site of many, many, many things, like the end scene of Goonies, when the parents are like reuniting with the kids.
Right.
That's
in front
Bodega
of the
Bay.
house and the water's right there. Yeah.
And then It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia did a lot of
So that wasn't
episodes
Astoria.
there.
at the
No,
end?
Astoria is, up
Where they
north.
Shot a lot of Goonies stuff.
That's where they
Mhm.
shoot like the monster trucks driving on the beach scene with the big rocks. And also the Goonie house. Actually,
I've been there.
have you seen the photo on my piano?
Yeah.
It's me and my kids in front of the Goonies house.
I've been there too.
Wow.
It's a fun trip.
I didn't know.
It recently got sold
Really?
to a Goonies fan, which is cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, something like what happened in the Birds film happened in real life while Hitchcock was already working on the film.
No.
In 1961, thousands of seabirds began slamming into the coast of Monterey Bay. They fell on homes, cars, and streets, primarily in Capitola. They started puking up half-eaten anchovies everywhere.
Oh.
Oh.
Some people were even bitten by the birds.
Whoa.
This was caused by toxic algae.
Mm.
Oh, Obi.
Tangled in Christmas wrap.
So The
Yeah,
Birds
he was
was
playing with the
a
wrap.
groundbreaking horror film. It was Hitchcock's first horror film. And the very first time that animals were portrayed as acting in organized attacks on humans.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll wait till we dive in more. But I definitely like there were spots where I'm like, this is cheesy AF, but I was still getting goosebumps. Like, or I'm like, oh, I don't like this.
I think I was more scared because of your topic.
Oh, because after I
That
talked
was
about the murder.
so
I-
coincidental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
coincidental.
After
That was
talking
a
about
good
how they
word.
like socialize and plot, and I'm like,
Right.
this could be a,
Well,
a possibility.
And there was a line in the movie that one of the people like, well, birds of different types don't.
We'll
work
get
together.
to that. We'll get to that. Mechanical and live trained birds were used in the film, along with optically altered film overlay of flying birds.
Hmm.
The film took almost 3 years to complete
Wow.
before it was released in 63. So let's dive in. There are 18 scenes. Scene 1. Blonde rich Melanie arrives at the pet store in San Francisco.
Mhm.
There she meets Mitch, the dashing lawyer.
Right.
Mitch is there to get a pair of lovebirds for his little sister.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
Anything to add?
I didn't, it was interesting that she went right into lying. Like, I work here. And I couldn't tell if it was because she liked him or if she was just
I
like,
think she's a pathological
weirdo.
liar.
Yeah.
She lies a lot in the movie.
yeah, no, like through the whole thing, she lies. And
Yeah.
because at that point, it wasn't established that she like liked him. It was just, I'm going to run with this.
Like this is
And that
fun.
was
It's a game.
interesting. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, like
Okay.
a game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yes. So that's what's my thought.
And she had a little snotty attitude, and oh no, you can deliver the birds to me.
Oh yeah, I kept thinking like,
Yeah, she
okay,
kinda
like,
like-
but F you. Like pick up your damn birds.
Come back tomorrow.
But the lady was so nice about it. I was
Yeah.
like trying to figure out, is that like for the times normal? Like
Probably.
ship me the birds.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she also sounded like a
Kind of
dick,
entitled.
Yeah, entitled.
And I
Or
realized
entitled.
right away at this first scene, like, okay, I need to look at this through the lens of the cultural norms of that times.
right.
Because immediately I was irritated when the two ladies like trying to get the birds and like,
Oh, I feel like I could get them if I only touched it in the air once.
and then
And
you
they're all
know,
frazzled.
of course, Mitch then just takes off his hat, catches the bird.
Silly women.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Sensible man there to save the day.
Yeah.
He must have been so hysterical about those
They
birds.
used that
thing.
word in
I
the
know.
film. Did you hear that? I was like, oh, they did not.
Oh,
They
they did.
did not
They
use
did.
that word. Pathologizing normal emotional reactions.
I mean, I do think she's a pathological liar. I do think that was a thing.
But it's not
And
because
entitled.
she has a womb.
No, it's not about being a woman.
Right.
It's just probably her upbringing, which she did mention throughout about her
Being
like
rich.
and her well and her
Yeah.
like
Oh,
her
didn't have mom.
yeah,
around.
like she wasn't there. Like she like turned away from the camera. That's
Very
what-
dramatic.
And she almost
there was a lot
cried.
of like
She like
Got a little choked up,
back.
overclamped.
there was like a lot of this.
I can't handle my pain.
I like the drama of the acting.
I like the kids. The kids
Oh,
acting.
they
was
Okay,
great.
wait, we're
Oh,
not there yet.
Sorry.
Okay, scene 2 of
Scene
18. Stick with us, folks. Melanie has bought the lovebirds and tracked down Mitch's address because she like stalked him.
Yeah, that-
Extreme.
Well, yeah, no, that got creepy because it was like, okay, she got a boat. Like,
Well, we're not at the boat yet. This is
Okay.
when
all right.
she goes out, writes down his license plate number,
Right.
calls her connections at her father's newspaper, and gets his address, and then goes to his apartment in San Francisco and tries to leave the birds outside a door with a note.
The other weird part though is he was kind of rude to her
He was rude to her.
and a little mean and snarky
And he
and
said-
condescending.
And on the way out,
and she like liked it.
and
And that's
but
what got her.
on
Like,
the way out, he goes, "See you in court." So that was like the last thing in the bird shop that he said. And so to me, it was almost like
He wasn't giving her the attention she's used to.
yes.
right.
Yes.
Because how does it open? She's walking to the
Mhm.
store, and what happens on the street? She gets whistled at.
Oh,
And instead of being like, she's like,
She likes she loves it.
yeah, because they
Nice
said that
too.
her face was in all the papers and stuff. So
yeah. So maybe it's like that challenge of, oh,
Yeah.
this is somebody who isn't just super into me.
but that's what made it feel like
I mean, I can relate. to
it's
that,
like
to be
but
honest.
again, maybe playing on some of the sexist stuff of like, oh, a woman who doesn't get her affections met becomes irrational in her, like she'll do anything to get the man's
An
attention.
anxious attachment.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Yeah, exactly. Go on.
So
Proceed.
Mitch isn't home at the apartment, and Melanie learns this is because he's at Bodega Bay because he spends every weekend there with his mom and sister. So she immediately, scene 3,
That's some dedication, by the way. Like every weekend.
hops in her car and drives and drives. And this is a lot of driving in this scene. There's a lot of driving in this scene. It was like driving.
There was some scenes that I was
Singing,
like,
driving.
like if it was it reminded me a bit of like The Shining, where there's some really drawn out scenic things, but there wasn't the eerie music to really make it creepy.
There's no music at all, right? In the background. I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
don't think
I
so.
don't
Maybe
think there
that's something that's
was.
missing.
Oh.
Except for like the kids singing in the school.
And they sang for frickin'
We'll get
hours.
there. We'll get there,
Okay,
people. Scene 3, focus.
Mhm.
So I'm a car person, so I'm like, oh, look at
Oh,
that
yeah, she had a
car.
nice car,
Yeah, it was a convertible Aston Martin. So she
That's a nice
drives
car.
up the close to the sleepy seaside town of Bodega Bay.
Speeding the whole way. I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain.
And like this movie, is kind of a slow start, but I was really into like, oh, what are they driving? What are they wearing? What does their hair look like? So there was
Yeah,
a lot to
Her
like
hair was
keep
on
me
point.
interested, even though there wasn't a lot happening like horror movie wise.
Yeah, it's like there was a lot of character development, which I think is different from a lot of modern horror movies, where it's just like all of a sudden quick
Yeah.
things are happening.
We're like, think Scream.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
where
Oh yeah.
right
yeah.
away Drew Barrymore dead.
Yeah,
Well-
this was like something horrible happened in the midst of normal life.
The attention span of people was longer.
It was
back
longer,
then.
yes.
And so people were able to hold.
In her closer.
But is that also because
look at that one.
No, I'm always.
oh yeah, Scooch is and I think that's also too because media has catered to that over time too. So like maybe
No,
people need to watch some birds and force themselves to watch all of it and not skip parts of it.
and not multitask and be on your phone or doing something else at the same time. I mean, if I try to get my kids a video, if it is more than 20 seconds, they will walk away.
Right.
It's too long because attention span is shot.
I multitasked while I was watching the movie.
There's too many systems expectations for people nowadays. We have to do too many things. They had a lot
But
of time
do
to
we?
do nothing.
But
They had
do
a
it.
lot of time to do nothing.
I would just say I read an amazing book recently called Rest is Resistance, and I highly recommend it for everybody who wants to break out of the grime culture. So Melanie is in this town and is directed to Annie Hayworth's house because she wants to learn Mitch's sister's name because Melanie wants to write it on the card that is attached to the lovebirds. And
Which-
Annie Hayworth is the school teacher.
Which sounds like a nice thing to do, but it's again, why would you do it?
Like far-fetched.
It's like a stalker. It's like she quickly overnight, not even overnight, became a stalker
Mhm.
that fast. Like if somebody did that to me that I met in a store briefly and who I like kind of shirked away.
I would not hand deliver birds out of town.
No, I would not. Even if that person then showed up to my house that I bought these for your little sister, I'd be like,
That's
I'm
so
not gonna accept that
weird.
for you. It's really weird.
Yeah,
Go away.
boundaries.
Yeah, I don't know you.
So I'm wondering, is that a cultural thing of the times where there are just less boundaries and people would just
Mhm.
travel out of town without
to the kids'
word
school.
and
I don't know.
find out your kid's name
I
and
think it's like,
bring them
again,
up?
kind of pitting her in this like really, because if it wasn't for that, like it would make it hard to tell her personality. Because with that, it's like, oh, she really strives for that attention. She didn't get it, so she's going to do these extreme things.
I mean, I guess, yeah, like
It
she
sets
knows
her
what she
up.
wants and she's gonna get it. It's
Right.
kind of that kind of
And
thing.
in that way, but what was missing, and maybe this will come up, but what was missing for me is like he never then like pushed her away again, which I kind of was expecting. Like the like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? He like
Well,
sped his car
But he
over.
was kind of flirting with her in the beginning.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have to
Oh,
get there. We have to
every-
get to Scene
every time.
Scene 4. So Annie
hard.
tells Melanie that Mitch's sister's name is Kathy. And then Annie also learns that Melanie is looking for Mitch. And then Annie sees the lovebirds, and you can see her kind of like reading some kind of subtext into
Right.
that.
Mhm.
And I thought
And she was
Annie was
fine.
just gorgeous,
I think she had a good
She is.
acting
thought-
role too. Like
yeah.
her
Mhm.
acting was really good.
really pretty.
It's like she played the I really don't care. It's been a long time, but I care. She played that line really well.
So scene
I
5,
care, but I don't care.
Melanie takes the birds. She rents a little outboard motorboat and travels across to Mitch's house,
Oh my gosh.
which I thought was really strange.
It was really
How about you all?
Yes.
She's wearing
yeah.
this like suit. She's like hopping in
fur
this
coat.
tiny little boat. I wouldn't fucking do that.
It looks scary.
Are you
as
kidding
fuck.
me?
Like I would not do
That
that.
boat was like 5 feet long.
There's like whales and shit out there.
She's like, just going across the bay. I'm scared of water that I cannot see through.
She didn't give a shit. And
It set up like this uneasy feeling for me. Like it was
Yeah.
like stressful. And
yeah,
I'm like
it's
what's
stressful to
going on
watch.
here?
And it
was
felt
so
like a
weird.
lot of tension, right?
Yeah.
And it was way too easy for her to get information. Like I would be
Yeah.
so pissed at my fellow townspeople if some random
The
lady came-
teacher
yeah, and just
can't give that
you
info
ask
away.
a question and you just answer everything and start just divulging all my private information. Like
And
Why?
here's where you go, and this is their names. And
they
this
get
is how
out
you
of
get
school,
there.
fuck. And if
Yeah.
their kryptonite is
But
peanut
being
butter,
like a
they're
well-dressed
tragic.
attractive woman compared to like if a man was out there asking for
Well, and maybe that's
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of-
her privilege.
yep.
I mean, from our lens, there was a lot of sexist stuff, but maybe back then, nobody was paranoid. I mean, this is pre
And
like
to a small town and she's all dressed up and looks like money, like people may like
Yeah.
feel and like they have to divulge
right, because they
information.
kind of were putting it off like, oh, these are like country bunkins
Right.
a little bit,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like she's in her suit
She's
and Annie was
well-spoken.
wearing like something more casual. So maybe that differentiation. She's in the Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Um,
She gets what she wants.
yeah, I mean, I'm known for wearing outfits that are not appropriate for the task, but there was something
Overall-
about that
Overall
suit.
during hiking. That's awesome. I'm like, let's go. I might get a little chafe, but it's okay.
It's
You look cute.
okay. So she goes across the bay to Mitch's house, and then she sees Mitch go to the barn, and she comes ashore and then sneaks into the house and leaves the birds at her note and sneaks out. I'm like, okay, this is even for the times. Is that weird to like go in
It's
someone's
weird.
house?
It's
So weird.
weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. But they said like she played a prank. They'd said that at the beginning, like she played
Like
a
a
prank and she was getting in trouble and she's a
prankster.
prankster. So like she has
Yeah.
no boundaries. She's edgy and has money and doesn't care.
She wasn't expecting him to come after her. Like she was really trying to like get
Be
away,
sneaky.
and like she would have taken off and left
he,
town
like,
probably.
sped AF across the. I was
That
like,
was weird too. He like ran in,
Well-
and ran out.
well, and
you're
because
like,
he goes in and he
happened?
runs out, and I'm expecting him to be like freaked out or like
Right,
what the
right.
because then he sees her in the binoculars and instead smiles. And I'm like, what the?
yeah,
what
I wasn't
response is
expecting
that? And then he speeds on.
I was
I'm like,
like, oh,
Yeah.
there she
he
is.
speeds, and it's like, is he
I see
angry?
you.
Is he like
That's
sexually
so
attracted
weird.
and he's gonna try to mount her in the boat? Like, what is happening? It was too much
There
in
was a lot
that
of
moment.
Oddness going on there.
And
Yeah.
and then as she pulls up to the dock, I'm sure you're gonna.
Oh, that's
yeah,
next.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I stopped.
So Melanie's leaving in
You
the
get the hang of
boat.
it now, you're like,
Mitch comes out, sees her, and so she's motoring across the bay at the same time as Mitch is racing his car around to meet her.
And she
So
watches him the whole.
I
yeah,
was like,
It
My
worked.
plan
and then she's almost to the dock. Mitch is like out of his car, standing waiting, and then a seagull swoops down from out of nowhere and slams into her forehead, and she's like,
Bam.
ah. I mean, it was like,
It was like
very
"Ugh."
over dramatic.
Oh.
Yeah, she was like
I
instantly
was
like
thinking that too.
compression.
Actually, I think she played that up to it. She was getting off because he was helping her then, and she, and there was a little blood, but like,
I mean, I would be so embarrassed. I'd be like, it's nothing, I'm fine.
I know.
I would run bleeding to the bathroom and just be alone.
fall back into the water. Like, you're fine.
No, I'm fine. Head down.
But that
Get
was
out.
like
Run away, run away.
remember in the topic about oh my gosh, it's gonna slip my mind now. The supposed axe murder that I did a topic on recently, the female axe murder.
Lizzie Borden?
Thank you. Yeah, like when she fainted in the courtroom when they brought
Oh,
it,
yeah.
like it was so much more, appropriate for the times back then for women to really feign that like I'm vulnerable, I'm
Helplessness.
weak.
Also
I need
possibly
to be
corsets.
rescued.
Yes, and to let men is to promote men being manly in that
Right.
time. Like, yes,
Help me.
save me, take me away.
I would be so embarrassed
Oh,
because
take me away.
I think being hit in the head by a seagull is not cool. I don't think it's cool. So I would be mortified.
Is the impact hard enough for a concussion though?
I mean, I think if it's coming beak first. And it seemed like those birds, those seagulls in that movie had big ass beaks.
I was looking at that too. I'm like, what they do?
Bigger than
They do
normal.
have big beaks.
The goal.
But they
the
seemed a
seagull.
little normal. Bigger than normal to me.
Oh,
Bigger than typical.
They like
I
found
mean-
some birds that had extra big ones.
Or it was one of those animated ones.
They didn't really have that back then. Or that was part of
I mean, not animated like
Oh.
cartoon, but like like a mechanical.
Oh, animatronic. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, I think that if it would have hit her that hard, she would have been like concussed out.
Like
Um,
held back and
yeah, I think the fact that she was like,
I mean, you can die
Ah.
from being hit in the head with a penny thrown off the Empire State
right,
Building,
but she
so-
literally got out of the boat on her own and then was like,
Well, yeah. I
'Cause-
mean,
because Mr. Stud Muffin was there to pull her out.
I just don't,
It all
I just
works.
don't react like that.
I think she planned it all along. Her and that seagull were in cahoots.
Well, we'll get into motives
I know.
soon. So Mitch helps Melanie into the restaurant. And you can go to this restaurant today. It's called the Tides. I was looking it
Today.
up on the Bodega Bay website.
Should go.
Mitch's
Field
mother, Lydia, comes into the restaurant and doesn't seem pleased when Mitch introduces her to Melanie. And then Mitch invites Melanie to dinner anyway, and Lydia is like not happy. And I was a little confused about this.
Yeah, there's some
I
weird
thought
things.
Lydia at first was his wife.
I
because
didn't.
I mean, not
They-
to be like ageist or whatever,
They did
but
braid
I
her
thought
hair
they were
out.
like sort of the same age.
No,
Did
I
they say it though? I think they said something
They-
about mom.
they did, but they like grayed out her hair, but not much. Like I still felt like they did her up to where it could be.
So I was a little
Right.
confused.
It was confusing. I think that was part of it. that
Maybe I
she
was
acted-
peeing when they said it was the mom because
And she even said like, oh, she's sounds like an over controlling mom. Oh, no, it's not that at all. And there was like this weird like back and forth about mom's role that I did not fully understand either. Like, is mom over controlling?
Annie was talking about it.
Annie was, yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Well-
like once she left the romantic thing, Annie was then accepted and they're really good friends.
yeah, I mean my takeaway, I mean we can get into this a little more too, but I think Lydia was threatened by anybody.
Mhm.
Mitch had a
Yes.
romantic.
I mean, the fact that he's there every weekend, again, that's a mock
He was
influence.
filling the role of the dad who passed away.
Yeah.
So she was scared. to
Yeah,
have-
so Lydia's husband, Mitch's dad, had passed away 4 years previously. So that's part of why Mitch is out every weekend to like help her out.
Right. And later
all that.
on, I won't say anything else other than she makes a statement, like, you must view me poorly. Like, I wish I was stronger than this. And like makes a statement about that when she's feeling vulnerable.
Mhm.
So scene 7, Melanie goes back to Annie's house and asks if she could rent a room for the night. Annie says yes. And this is partly because Annie has a room for rent sign in the window.
But she lied again before that and goes, "Oh yeah, I know Annie, and we went to college together."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I came to see her and I was here anyways.
That's right.
But she just didn't want her to know that she had gone through all the trouble of being a
Yeah, I was
stalker.
just
But
coming to
she
visit Annie, but I don't think he believed her though.
No,
No,
he
he
didn't.
knew.
She said that.
Instantly, he
Yeah,
didn't
he-
believe her. And
He's a
again,
lawyer.
and again, like,
knew.
why would you put birds in my house? It still doesn't make sense.
Well, and he dated Annie, so he probably knows Annie's friends.
Right.
And Annie would
Right.
mention, "Oh, I know this like newspaper owner's
This
daughter."
pathological.
You know,
liar.
yeah.
Yeah. And he sounds involved in whatever court case that's going on with her. He already sounds involved in it, so he probably already knows all of the ins and outs.
He
of
knows the
it.
ins and outs.
Which this is some boundary crossing. I'm sure that. That's
Ethical.
happening.
Ethical.
Sorry,
Oh my
on
God.
screen. Wow, yeah, I did that.
Wow, scrolling. Okay, so Melanie and Annie look up, they see gulls flying overhead, it's a little foreshadowing of stuff to come. That evening, Melanie pulls up to the Brenner house, and then Mitch's little kid sister, Kathy, who's supposed to be 11, but looks like she's 18, runs up and hugs Melanie and thanks her for the birds.
There was again some weird boundaries with
Yeah.
this girl.
Immediately, I was like, what is wrong with this girl?
Like,
No, I thought that too. I was
attachment.
like, what
I
do you-
thought indiscriminate attachment.
right.
Oh, explain that one.
Because immediately she's like, I love you. Will you stay for dinner and live here forever and then leave and come to my birthday?
Sure. And she goes, what, do you not like us? I would probably just, okay, I watched Dennis the Menace recently, and oh no, what's the one where they flick oh, just kidding, Kim's Convenience on Netflix.
Oh, I love that show.
Right, and he played the naughty kid, he flicks them in the forehead. That child I would have flicked in the forehead.
Like back up.
You don't know me.
Yes.
You don't want me to stay here. I could kill you. You don't know.
Yeah. So she just was all about anybody, like
But-
just a stranger,
And
as
maybe
much as
that's
her.
because it's
mom.
probably just like so small there that like, oh, someone new, someone, oh, he's bringing someone,
so
like,
easy to trust.
and mom doesn't let people near and stay. So there's probably
And maybe
something-
mom is distant because she's depressed and I need connection, but I don't care who with.
like this female who seems nice.
Yeah,
like,
be my mom, be my mom.
Yeah.
And then you gotta peel them off, give them a sticker, and say, "I'll see you in a week."
And
You
flick
just
'em on-
go for the side hug.
I mean, I don't flick them in counseling, to be fair, but if this happened in the wild,
a child in the wild.
if a child in the wild ran up, hugged me, and said, "Don't leave, I love you," you'd get a forehead flick, and I would send you back to your parents. And then I get in my car and I drive away.
I would not flick a kid, but I would be like,
Just in the
"See your
forehead."
parents." You know, it'd be a lot
I
of
would do side hug.
awkward. Yeah, side hug, like,
I wouldn't touch them.
where's
mean,
your
I prob-
parents? If they came in though, you know,
No,
side hug.
No, you just keep going wide in circles, and just then you can hold them back by the forehead,
Is that
and
like
their
a der-
arms-
Is that a derby move?
and their arms are doing this, and then you're like,
No, you can't touch people's
parents.
heads in Derby.
Oh, okay.
parents. And then you push them back a little bit, and then flick when you get a little distance, and then run away, and then get in your car and leave.
Oh, you planned this out.
I mean, just now.
Oh. Nice.
Mitch says they've been looking at chickens
All right.
who have been behaving strangely. Lydia
Yeah.
thinks something is wrong with their feed.
Because they stopped eating it.
Mhm.
Lydia gets into a heated phone conversation with someone about the feed.
I mean, it wasn't that heated, but yeah, it was a little like frustrated.
I think for the times it was pretty heated.
Yeah, because she did. She was like, "No, you don't understand,
Yeah.
Mhm.
kindly sir."
His chickens have been acting weirdly too and ate a different feed. So what's going on with those chickens?
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't look at my words.
Oh, sorry.
Oh wow.
Kathy
Did
invites
you just get a hand slap?
Melanie.
Wow.
My reflex. I gotta work on my reflexes.
It's finally close. I can slap you in the face, challenge you to a duel.
Oh yeah.
Here, here, go for it.
I won. Got her.
Victor,
I didn't expect them to be attacked.
give me by your own.
In
Oh,
in the other room, Lydia is cross-examining Mitch about Melanie and brings up the past as she read in the gossip columns.
Hmm,
And then Melanie admits she lied to him about being there to visit Annie.
that'd be really fun to have like a gossip column. Like just create gossip.
Well, they still have that.
No, but like we could create gossip.
Well,
Just to your own.
my love of gossip is my shadow side. I love
Oh,
me
yeah.
some juicy
Ooh,
gossip,
we could
but
call it the
it's
shadow
not
side.
something that I
Gossip
want
column.
to feed because I love it too much. It's like one of those things
I'll
that I know is bad, but I love, so I just have to like
do it.
try
with
to
friends
minimize
in
it.
private
And you can get in so much trouble by gossiping.
I know.
Because then it comes back around and, like,
slander.
yeah. So I really try to say like best intentions for me would be like, don't say something about somebody that you wouldn't say in front of them, that kind of
The
thing.
problem is I'd say a lot of things in front of people.
Well, then,
To
it's-
just purely.
I
to
mean, if
make-
that's your
to
rule, that'd
purely
be
to make the
fine.
gossip okay.
I'll tell you.
I told you to your face and
I love
publicly on the
me some
gossip.
juicy gossip. It's like I have a few vices like that I just love and have to like I'm constantly trying to gossip, wine
I don't know enough.
and social media. Those are like my things where I'm like, I know it's bad, try to keep it minimized.
That kind of plays into gossip though, like social media, you're getting it inside intel and
Well,
people
that's
kind of let
fine.
things slip
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's why I like being friends with you though, because I don't like know enough people to gossip. So then you and I will meet and we'll drink and then I get to like hear the gossip and then it doesn't really impact me directly, but I enjoy it.
and you're not going to go back and talk to
I'm
anyone
like,
about
she
it,
did
so-
what? Who is this? And I'd have no idea who
Yeah.
this person is. Yeah.
But see, that's where it's like I love
Oh,
gossip.
I love
and
hearing
it's
it.
not-
I like fueling it.
I know, but I feel dirty.
Starting it.
I feel dirty
I
when
like
I'm
pouring the gasoline on it. And I'm like, what did she say? She said, what about your kids?
Sorry. Okay, scene 8.
Taurus.
Melanie goes back to Annie's. They drink brandy and smoke cigarettes. So they drink a lot in this movie and they
And
smoke a lot.
Culturally.
Indoors.
Yeah, that was the
Not
thing.
smoking cigarettes.
So you have to think about the cultural times
Yeah.
about that, but it's a lot.
They made brandy look really good. I don't think I've ever had just brandy straight, but I wanted some brandy. They were like, she like got knocked out. He's like, just drink brandy, have some brandy. And that's like a scene ahead.
Well,
like
Yeah,
farther
yeah,
along.
yeah.
But-
That's the scene that- but
He's
did
like,
you know
"Have some
that brandy, when it was first made, was a medicine?
Oh,
You remember the old
interesting.
cartoons where the Saint Bernard would have the brandy thing right
I mean,
here?
I
I
do
do
know
know
it's barrel.
it's bad. I would stop doing this.
The little barrel with the first aid signs.
I didn't know it was brandy.
And would go into the Alps. and,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
save people.
No, yeah, I know about
It was
the Saint Bernards,
brandy.
but I didn't know it was brandy.
It's probably Looney Tunes, and they're a little spout, and they,
Right.
like poured into people's mouths, and instantly they're revived.
Yeah,
It was like mouthwash. Mouthwash was originally just an antiseptic cleaner that they couldn't sell. So then it ended up being mouthwash.
It doesn't seem as fun to drink
Mm.
as brandy.
No, because you have to spit it back
we're
out.
gonna have like a tooth procedure. Just here, drink a bunch of alcohol and
Yeah.
feel drunk, and then we'll rip your teeth out.
Right. I mean, it does work. Eventually you get unconscious.
True.
So now
It's not wrong.
the girls are having their little chit chat, and Annie discloses she used to date Mitch and decided to move to Bodega Bay after they broke up
To be close to him.
because she liked him so much.
and she said to be close to him.
What is this guy's power over women?
Well,
He wasn't even that like to me, like I wasn't drawn.
I wasn't drawn either.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like some take chargeness.
He wasn't
but-
gonna take chargeness. Like if you're gonna run after the crazy biche who just dropped off birds inside your house, you don't have enough self-confidence at this point.
I mean, he was handsome. Ish.
I mean,
That is
I
the
would
same as-
never move to a
No,
town
he's not that handsome.
to be close to somebody I'd already broke up with.
I mean,
no.
I could see desperateness like that coming out of myself.
It seems a little stalkerish to me.
I mean, but she seemed to have a healthy respect of it, of like, I didn't want to lose his friendship. She did say, I want
Yeah,
to be
but
near
uprooting
him.
yourself.
Hopefulness. There's hope there.
I know, and
Which-
she's like involved
yeah.
in the family, like obviously very.
But she made the statement of, don't worry, that's long gone. And then she tells her about all the dating and closeness and moving there. And it's like,
That was a little extra.
yeah, because then you're sitting there like, I dropped birds off in his house. How do you feel about that?
Well, and she saw that they were love
birds. She goes,
subtext. Read the subtext.
Can I give a theory of
Yes.
a motive that went wrong that ended up being not
Yeah.
valid? I thought she had something to do with it, Annie. The way that
Oh.
I
Well, don't say what happens later.
no, I know. I'm trying to say, yeah, maybe I'll wait till the end when we like
Okay,
are able to give
okay.
theories out. I thought
Sounds
she was
good.
like had some kind of witchy thing going on.
Oh,
and,
really?
like, did something because she has to let
She
a
was
thing.
brunette.
Maybe, but
I mean, back then they would always portray the brunette as like
witch.
the bad one, like the
Yeah.
less.
I mean, odds are we were, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally
I mean, even
Taurus
the-
is talking about starting a
The
gospel
last
film.
movie
But-
that we reviewed, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, look at the difference between the blonde and the brunette character,
Right,
like
right,
right
right.
there.
And they did make, yeah, the blonde, yeah.
I mean, blondes have more fun.
But
and
again,
whatnot.
I think this was another film that they really tried. The blonde had the most scenes, the most blah blah blah, but I still think the brunette had better acting. Like
I thought she was more charismatic.
right. She was
Every time she was on
convincing.
scene, I like couldn't take my eyes off.
Right.
her.
I freaking love her hair. I don't know, because the other one did the
It was too
stuff,
tight.
but the other one like had it like boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's like,
This is more
dang.
zhuzhed up.
I just gave myself
Yeah.
a mullet.
No, that looked zhuzh it up. Yes.
Have I told you?
Yeah,
my
there
haircut
you
is
go.
called the jellyfish.
Is it?
Oh,
These are like the tentacles down here.
Hmm.
This is like the jellyfish.
Tentacles.
I like it being the Joan the
Okay.
Jet.
Joan
Joan
the
Jet.
Jet.
Right.
Joan the
John the
Jet.
Jet is also hot.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
Mitch calls to invite Melanie to Kathy's birthday party. While like on Annie's phone,
That was
like
rude.
Annie answers the phone and she's like, "Oh,
She handled
can
that
I
very
talk
well.
to you, Melanie?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I would just die." And Melanie agrees. And then there's
Yeah.
a loud thump at the door. Scene 9. So they open the door, and what do they see?
A seagull that was dead on the doorstep.
Dead.
Hit the door, and yeah,
Yeah, and they tried to rationalize it like, oh,
it's kind of dark.
Oh yeah,
See in
they,
the dark.
this weird moment. Yeah, she's like, it must have got lost in the dark, and then she goes, but it's a full moon.
and,
Dun, dun,
and
dun.
how like every night seagulls would be like crashing
Yeah.
into shit if that was a real thing.
Seagulls don't fly at night. They're sleeping.
They don't
What
crash
do they do at
into
night? They're not bats.
doors.
Okay, I have 3 big panel windows in the front of my house, and I've had a solid at least 5 birds bang, and I'll just hear a ping on the front
Oh,
window. I haven't seen any of them die. I think
Oh.
they like get knocked out and they get up and
Keep
fly
going.
away, where a random stray cat drags it off, and
Oh,
that's
probably.
the cycle of life.
Well, you can put up things on your window so that they know it's a window. and
I
they'll
mean,
prevent that.
they should just be smarter,
Well, no, because they're birds. They're
right?
literal bird brains.
Well, this is how I keep the balance of you don't kill me, so you respect the window. If you
You
don't
guys
respect
seen
the window, you
the
die.
if your
cartoon
window's
storks?
too clean, they
My window is
Can't
not
tell it's-
clean, and I have
Mm.
curtains. I don't just keep it open. There's
They should
curtains.
see that.
It's like
Okay,
they're
that's
flying
their
into a
fault.
wall.
Yeah,
That's
that's their fault.
it's their fault.
I don't like the term bird brain either, because that came up in my murder of crows.
I know,
episode.
that's why I
Actually,
brought it up.
smarter.
Yeah.
What did they say in the movie? Like a bird plate or their bird? They said something about the brain
remember.
being like a.
Ooh. Random side note, she
Yeah.
calls him a louse, and I love that old timey word. Like you're a louse.
Who does?
Like
You're
the blonde calls the dude a louse.
Melanie calls
Like a
Mitch
no
louse.
good, like a no good
Mhm.
Nick.
Louse.
Louse.
No good louse.
You could say a no good Nick too.
No,
That'd
no
be
good Nick, yeah.
Oh,
But I
never
kind of
heard
like the
that.
word louse. I'm
I
gonna call
mean,
more people a
That's
louse.
like plural of lice.
Yeah, no, it's just like you're
Lice and
you're an
like this.
infestational cretin of a man. Louse.
Hmm. Scene 9. It's
Hmm.
cat. We're halfway through.
This
It's
makes me-
Kathy's party.
Oh yeah. Wait.
While the kids play,
She's talking. She
Mitch
did
and
you wanna
Melanie.
pause for a halfway point to have a drink.
No, I just had a drink.
Okay.
Mitch and
Powering
Melanie
through.
climb up the bank by the seaside with a carafe of vodka, perhaps some kind of clear
Oh.
alcohol, and 2 glasses.
That was one of the little
Oh.
titty bits that you get when you watch it on Amazon. Was at first it was a dark liquid when they went up, and then
Ah.
on the when they start later, it's all of a sudden a clear liquid. Just so you know.
Because the cast actually drank the
Something-
first bottle.
Something happened with the actual alcohol, and then they filled it with water.
Oh.
So
Just a
I was just interpreting it
That's
as
cool.
vodka. I'm like, okay, that's cool. We're just drinking vodka in the middle of the
I
day
think it
at a
was
kid's birthday
Kids
party.
That's a rally.
Right.
And then, Annie's like watching them go up the hill. Like, obviously, it's a romantic
That's why I
moment.
kept thinking that she was in on it. because there was these just little moments where you're like, oh, she is not liking
Mhm.
like this relationship, and
Yeah.
she might be doing
Right.
something.
I mean, I wouldn't either. If I
no,
Like if
was
I moved
totally
there
into
for
this guy forever.
in the long game, like if I'm the only chick here, eventually I'm gonna get laid.
yeah,
Yeah, and if I
Totally.
can get Lydia to like me by like coming over every weekend and
Yeah,
helping
Like,
out.
just that I'm not in a relationship, she likes me, so I'm like worming my way in
Yeah, worm
that
it.
way.
Worm it
his
in.
sister was friends with her,
Right,
and,
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then here comes blonde boy.
She was actually pretty nice to her, considering, like pretty cordial,
Well,
I would say.
I think she had to play it off that she
but
didn't
again, she's
care.
well known
Yeah.
and money, and I think that's how you treat people like that back then.
Mm.
Today, you spit on their shoes and you say, "Get
She
out."
could have flipped the sign around and said, "There's no room here in this house for you."
I mean, I wish she did.
That would have
was
been made
great.
over for villain though.
That's
wasn't
true.
cast that way.
And she wasn't
It was,
cast that
the
way.
movie would have been
She
done
never
at that point.
in the whole movie made me go, she's like the bad guy or has any bad ill intent. Like,
yeah.
I
They
mean,
wanted
obviously
to make her
you
like
were waiting.
I was waiting. I was thinking it was gonna come out.
you're just suspicious, Sarah.
Which
Let's
is
just be
Interesting.
out
I
with
wouldn't
it.
expect that from you.
Oh yeah, I don't trust very easy.
No, trust
said
no
that to
one.
you,
Question
remember?
everything. Like that's
Yeah.
the way to survive.
Did I
Mhm.
say something in the
Yeah.
car about that to you?
Just about trusting, how it takes a while to build trust.
Yeah.
I don't trust shit.
Yeah.
I definitely,
Okay.
I will give people the benefit of the
You don't
doubt.
have to let him out.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna jingle the door handle and then sit back down. That was cool.
No, I just teased.
I would let him out.
So Mitch tries to get Melanie to stay for dinner. And
I tried
and
to
she's
be-
like, no, I can't have any more. I have to drive home. And he's like, I'm trying to get you to stay for dinner. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit
This is a little
baby, it's cold outside. Yeah.
The weather outside is
Like,
Birdie.
you're too drunk to drive, better stay.
you should really get in my bed. Cause baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
So
Let's
Mel-
get laid, let's get laid, let's get laid.
And then there's a
I
really
think that's a
weird
real
thing
song.
where he's like, what do you even do? And then
Right.
she
Yeah.
revealed that she does various work on Mondays and Thursdays,
Randomness.
Saying that and I'm like,
such as raise money for a Korean boy to go to school.
I know,
I'm
she's
like, what
I'm
kind of fucking racist
so
shit
weird.
is that?
no, you know what? When she said that, my brain went, should I pay for a Korean boy to go to school? How much does that cost? Like, is that like
It
a
was
thing?
just so
It's like
strange.
white privilege. I'll pay for some.
And then
you
she
know.
like takes a semantics class to learn new words. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And
4-letter words.
And then
Or-
one of the days she's like, and I have a meeting that day.
and a lunch.
Yeah, a meeting and lunch. Wow, I wish my days consisted of one meeting and lunch.
Yeah.
I thought the 4-letter word thing, like maybe that's a joke, like she's trying to be like fuck off or whatever, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know exactly
No,
how they
she's-
thought in 63.
She's going to buy a bird for her aunt or some relative and was going to teach the bird 4-letter word, or because the bird can only say like certain
fuck.
words. Yeah. And so then the bird would start.
But is she
thinking,
being like like naughty,
joking,
like
or
fuck?
really going to do that?
Or is it really?
Well,
I mean, I
he's-
don't know
I think
where they were at. In
I think
63
that's
with
where
this
they
stuff.
were because he's like, she's like, I really shouldn't. And he's like, but I'm gonna. And then she's like, okay. Like they're like, this is like flirting, I think, back then.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, is this how it becomes consensual in the 1960s?
I don't know if consent existed.
I
Akin
mean-
to our current understanding.
It's probably true.
Kathy, meanwhile, is blindfolded for like a little pin the tail on the donkey or some kind of party game similar to that. Annie and Lydia are giving Mitch and Melanie dark looks as they're up on the hill drinking vodka in the day. Then a seagull swoops down and hits Kathy on the head. And then all of a sudden, kids are screaming, running in every direction. Birds are attacking. Everybody's like, get the kids out of the house. There's kids like laying on
The one girl
ground.
like on the ground.
Face down and there's birds. Like, I'm like, is her spinal cord gonna be okay after this? Like they were aggressive.
And then the one that like Mitch picked up, I'm like, is that a real child or is that a dummy? Like I couldn't tell. Like
Right.
its face kind of looked like, is that a real child?
No,
So I
didn't
think
know
that, remember when I mentioned that like this came up in the ginger episode, but I mentioned about like how children scare me and like children of the corn type stuff. And
Yeah.
the kids in this were the scariest part for me.
Really?
Like the kids screaming freaks me out. I don't, and it's they
Oh.
freak me out. The kids themselves scare the shit out of me. in this.
Okay.
Hmm.
And I'm glad you reminded me of something I wanted to bring up because there were multiple connections between the previous episode and this episode. Not only did you talk about how smart crows are,
Right.
And revenge tactics.
but I talked about the horrible discrimination against redheaded kids.
Right.
And did you notice that most of the kids that were portrayed as being attacked were redheaded kids in this movie?
So true. It was the
Like,
on
what in the
cars,
actual fuck?
the cars, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think if we went back and reviewed and like did a ranking of hair color,
Mhm,
ginger
mhm,
kids would be portrayed
mhm.
as being attacked more often than other
That's
kids.
very interesting. I did not
Yeah.
notice that.
All of them are terrifying to me though. Equally.
Equally terrifying children.
So eventually the birds just fly away.
The noise was what bothered me.
Oh,
Yes, it was classic.
Like, I had to turn it down.
But can you imagine if, say, that was real and you're out there and that was going
Okay,
on?
and I mentioned in
Yeah.
my episode with the crows that like I have the big tree behind my house and I swear there's like 50 crows that live in it. And when they fly off, it is loud and they do make all that
Like a
noise.
wind too.
It's
It's
like,
like a wind sound.
And then and it is that so to me that felt realistic and my daily life
You guys are not going to believe me.
minus
but
this terrifying children.
Today I was working and I was on my laptop looking out the window and a swarm of birds like dove into my back porch.
Oh shit.
And just
Did
like
you just dive for cover?
I hadn't watched the movie yet, but I was like, oh my God,
It's
I've
happening.
not seen this before. And it was a bunch of little ones. I don't know what
Oh,
kind of
this
birds.
little like
And then they started
yeah.
like pecking in the ground. So I don't know if like they saw something like worm or mouse and then they all just like swooped in, but it was very much like the movie. It was a whole swoop of them, whole murder.
Ugh,
I
was like,
murder.
I love that I can use the term murder now. And
Let's use it.
when I drive like long distance, because I drive to Wenatchee to go to my mom's like long prairies, and they have the big like those little birds that
Yeah.
go across. I'm like, I'm gonna hit you,
Mhm.
and then they like last minute ditch. Like they have good like
You say that. I had an incident when I was driving with my kids to California, as we do all the time. And the birds did the thing and we fucking hit
a whole bunch.
over and over and over.
Like,
And it was a
I think
fucking
we're
nightmare.
done.
Just normal speed.
what does normal speed mean?
Just whatever the highway speed was, 65 or whatever.
Wow.
It was horrifying. It was a nightmare.
I hit one
I was like,
person
this is not normal. They're
I was
supposed to
traumatized.
avoid this. No, I pulled over my entire grill filled with dead
Oh.
birds. I'm like, why are the birds?
awful.
And we were like puzzled over it.
Most of the
We're
time
like,
they're
why?
so good.
What is happening?
Right. Can I confess my one traumatic event? It was a squirrel, not a bird. But what happened, it's unrelated except for you brought it up. So I was driving. Baby squirrel runs across the road, right? Baby squirrel. Okay.
And
And
last time we talked about giant squirrels.
I know, and now it's a baby squirrel. It's super little. And the squirrel like runs under, and I'm like, oh my
It's all
gosh.
the big head and the high forehead.
Right,
and the big
right.
eyes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm
The
trying
neoteny going on.
at this point, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to change my pace because it seems like he can get out if I like,
like
and I watch him run this way, and then like something with the force of the tire, like I watched him get sucked under, and I killed him.
Oh, you see, you're a murderer.
For a month I thought about it because it was like he got out and I watched him get sucked back under, and that was one of the most traumatic things because I was
it
like,
hurts your heart because you can't help it. Like you couldn't avoid. do
I
anything.
cried. Obviously still impacts me today.
This is a confessional. This is like Catholic
We
confession
should.
booth.
I know. It's good. We should do one confession an
Every
episode.
Well, this isn't a confession, but when I was driving Asher
Oh,
to school
okay.
like a few weeks ago, because I drive to
Don't
college.
criminally. I don't want to have to
Incriminate.
edit it out of the
No, no, no,
podcast.
no.
It takes extra time.
I was driving with him in the car to Gonzaga, and we see the squirrels right across the road, and I think the car in front of me is gonna avoid it somehow. Car in front of me fucking runs right over it. This is like right in front of
Dude,
me.
some people
Oh,
some try to
try.
hit me.
No,
That's
they didn't change the direction, but I don't think they like purposely. And so me and Asher were like, oh my God. And and I'm like, Asher, if that squirrel hadn't died all the way, would I have had the responsibility to run over it and put it out to its misery? It was like flapping and suffering. Like, and then I was like, okay, next question. What if I intentionally swerved to put it out of its misery and the car behind me hadn't seen what happened and thought I had intentionally
the
swerved
guilty
to kill
feeling.
it? Like
Well,
there were so many questions that
right.
went along with
Those
it, but
would make so
luckily,
many
I mean, I
questions.
don't know, luckily, like the car in front of me, like it was
No
fully dead.
suffering.
It was fully
Yeah.
dead. But then I had to like drive by. I'm like, sure, like this is morning. Like this is starting the tone for my day. Like I don't want this.
Some people
That's
do
fair.
that. Some people like intentionally try to hit stray cats too. And that
Some
that
people are
freaks me
just
out.
horrible, horrible people, and should have whatever they
No
do in life
empathy.
happen to them
So
later.
I will swerve to try to avoid little creatures that cross the
Me
street.
too.
But then my husband says that you shouldn't really do that.
And
because you
actually,
could
I believe that too.
end up, like crashing into somebody else or getting into a
Right.
car
Well, and a lot of it
accident,
too,
and-
though, is like they're
and I still
running.
do it. I can't help it. I either like put on my brakes or
But a
like
lot of
swerve.
I
times
almost
they're
killed my
pacing, so if
entire
you change your
family
pace, they could
because a
cross.
spider was crawling across my.
Oh my gosh, I had a
Headline.
spider dropped down on me once and I about caused a 4-car
I had to
collision.
crawl
No,
across the
yeah.
field, and I had to like.
I had no
over it and-
control over myself. I pitched it. I pitched my car over here. Luckily, I wasn't going very fast. There was no other traffic. I pitched my car and
and
ran
set it on
out.
fire.
I jumped out of my car.
They were just
Luckily, no one's around. And then I'm like, I'm trying to justify it. I'm like, spider, there's a spider.
It's a
Spider.
spider, everybody. I thought about too, like, how do you justify with the police? They're like, how did this happen?
I mean, I just
spider.
hope I haven't been in this position, but I just hope that like if it was like, okay, I gotta hit this animal or like injure my family, like I would
Or
just
injure
hit the
my
animal. I mean, I hope, but who knows? Like you don't know what your limbic system is gonna
Yeah.
do once it takes over. Like you
Yeah.
just it takes over. You have no conscious control
It just happened.
over
Yeah,
what's
It's
happening.
just like split seconds to react.
Yeah.
And you just,
Well, it's not even it's not
even. Yeah.
it's just it's
You just
automatic.
do.
Yeah, you just do, and you have to just make peace with that
Adapt to
later,
it,
whatever it is.
I was trying to find, so there was on my keyboard, a keyboard that looks like this. There was a completely white, transparent spider.
Oh, I do not like the transparent.
That
white
was like
ones.
this
I don't
big
like
on the
any of
corner of my keyboard. It looked like a freaking sticker. And I honestly about put my hand on it like this to type because my mind went, I have stickers on my laptop. I was like, it looks like a spider sticker. And then I did this and it did the, holy shit.
It's like reared up.
It reared up and then I had to kill it. I'm sorry. And I actually had a lot of
I
bad
don't kill
feelings.
them.
about
I
it.
don't kill them.
It was too close to me and it was already cold outside. If you put them outside, they're
I
gonna
know,
die
but
anyways.
it's not on my blood. Is not on my hands. Is the way I
I-
rationalize it.
I feel like it's on my hands if I put them outside and it's freezing cold and they slowly starve and freeze to
But
death.
they
I'd rather
could
be
survive
dead.
if they have
Sure.
ingenuity.
Not if they get eaten by stray cats.
But see, that's on them, and I feel like I am
If it's
cleansed of
not-
guilt.
He was living great, just fine until I about touched him.
Some people love spiders, though. That's the thing.
That's
I always
right.
remind myself, I'm like, some people love spiders. Like
I've
they
saved
love them.
spiders. I've saved
I try to put-
flies.
I save every spider.
I kill spiders sometimes. though.
I
If
never
they are
kill
a
them.
giant, sometimes
I feel guilty though. when I do.
if there's a
For sure.
size,
I do.
you don't get to exist in my house. If you if you look like you could suck out my jugular, no.
Yeah, I feel like it's between me and the spider and my kids, and so sometimes
Right. And
you
a
just
lot of
have to,
those like the
All right, can we
Yeah, let 'em
we
in.
need to get back to the thing
do we know?
because we're only at scene 10.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, thank you. So it's evening in the Brenner house.
I'm just having
I know.
Kathy is trying to convince Melanie to spend the night. And
I
then,
need
I was gonna say, can we tap into this?
yes, it's your Hanukkah gift. Go for it. I got some Sufgan Yot and Hanukkah Gelt. Kathy is trying to convince Melanie to
You
spend the
can't
night. I
smell
said
this,
that.
That you probably want.
And then whoosh, the second bird attack commences and birds just start pouring the fuck out of their fireplace. And
That
this
was
time
scary.
it's sparrows. So they just start pouring. And the sound of like,
Mhm. I wonder what they used to make the sounds.
Try like crinkling paper.
Mhm.
This is the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. Have you tried one of these?
no,
Would you like a bite?
I just got it for you all.
But you should try one. They're very delicious.
Okay. I don't know, I can talk and stuff my face with the
We'll take a little pause. Yeah.
with
The
Sufgan,
sugar's
yeah.
sparkly. It's like
Oh, it's
sparkly
one of those
little
edible
snow.
glitters.
Edible glitter.
Oh.
The police officer
Glittery poop.
that comes later doesn't understand what happened, but definitely doesn't believe the birds attacked because that's silly.
Mhm.
And he's like, did you leave a light on?
Oh yeah, they're attracted to light sometimes.
Yeah, but like down your chimney.
Mhm.
When I first moved to this region, I moved here because my high school boyfriend's dad bought the Clark house on Hayden Lake and was turning it into a B&B, but when he first bought it, there was no power anywhere. It was like very much a project.
Hmm.
And so my then ex-boyfriend and me, get off your phone, Macy.
I was taking a picture of the process.
We stayed in a room that as soon as we turned on the lights, all these bats flew out of the fireplace. And we're just like,
I had a bat loose once in my house.
this is a whole swarm. So we had to
Mhm.
sleep with a light on. So we got his lamp, but it was connected by this really long.
But don't they come to the light to eat the bugs?
I didn't come out of the fireplace with the lamp.
You just had a big accident.
It's fine.
Okay.
That's my laptop.
Right.
I'm fine.
There's many uses.
So Melanie decides to spend the night. Scene 11. The next day, Lydia drives her cool green pickup to visit her neighbor's farm to look into this whole chicken feed thing, and chickens acting weird and
You
like the feed and what's going on.
Creepy.
My theory is that they didn't eat the chicken feed because they wanted human flesh.
That's a good theory. This is really
Oh.
good.
You're
And I'm-
getting really dirty with it.
Covered with powdered sugar.
That is
Oh.
a good theory.
Oh, look, McAfee is still haunting me.
Oh, we did a podcast topic on that.
Yeah, he's a dirty man.
So Lydia goes in the house and then finds the neighbor. His eyes have been pecked out and he's dead. And I was shocked that they showed that.
That
They were
was
like,
creepy.
"What?" Like closer and closer in view. I was like, oh.
I know. I saw that part and it was like, oh, shit's getting real. Like it's getting good now. And then
That one's probably the worst.
I know, and then I really slowed down again. But in that moment, I was like, oh man, his eyes are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised they showed that.
Then
to
it
be
got
honest.
slowed again, and I kept trying to be excited about it. And I had someone else that was kind of watching it and then like leaving, and they missed like the few good parts.
Yeah, you're like, wait, there was a good
Wait, I
part.
was like, no, but like, look at how they build the tension with this. And they were like, have fun with your lame movie.
Yeah.
It's good.
Scene 12.
I like.
So Mitch is going over to the neighbor's farm to meet with the police officer because, obviously something happened there. And Mitch and Melanie have a little kiss and
Death.
snuggle. I'm like, oh, things are
Finally.
moving fast here. I thought it was
Weird.
moving fast. Like,
It
where
was-
was the whole like, oh, I like you, you like me? Like, oh, we're just going
I
right to
thought you missed
physical.
something there too. I was like,
Are we
wait,
on
did she-
Tinder here?
He's like, and he kisses her, and I'm like, wait,
I did feel like I missed
What?
something. I'm like,
Yeah. I'm like,
Talk
did
about
something get edited out, or was I peeing and missing thing? Yeah.
do we just love each other now that birds are killing people?
Maybe birds bring people together. Bird attacks
Bird
bring
death.
people together.
I mean, I feel like I'm like if
Trauma bonds.
yeah, no,
Trauma bonds are real.
Oh yeah.
we just talked about that in the whole car ride here about trauma bonds,
Mhm.
and they're really
They're real,
really unhealthy.
but also can be hot.
I mean, I guess some.
Melanie is looking after Lydia, who's really worried about Kathleen being safe at school, like over and over. It's like, Lydia, just let it go. She's fine. She's like, but the whole
Fine.
school's covered. It has windows
Why
in
did
the
they
front.
go to school though? They should have probably stayed. I would have kept my kid home.
Well, because
But
they
nobody
didn't.
knew.
They didn't
There's no
think it-
social
They
needs
thought
at
it's a
that time.
murder. Just a murder.
Oh.
Or like the
no, the kids had already gotten attacked at the party though, right?
yeah,
Yeah, but they brushed it off. Like,
It's
oh, the kids
fine.
antagonized the birds.
because after that they came to the fireplace and police officers like they did not attack. Like that's your fault.
The party, the fireplace, my kid would have been staying home.
Oh yeah.
You're like, there's
Handy,
weird
handy.
shit happening. I'm not gonna
Play
risk
safe.
it. I've seen the birds.
Yeah. Well, now we know, and that's why our podcast is basically a giant
Informative.
PSA.
Listen to
Yes.
what we say. It could help you one day. That
And
kind
I
of
started
stuff.
off saying while they were filming this actual thing happened in Capitola, which is like
I'm really
2 hours
surprised
south
by
of
that
here.
one. That's
Do you remember your whale
scary.
exploding episode? That happens
Yes.
too. You just don't know.
You just don't know. Always have an exit strategy and cash. That's
Cat, you need
snacks,
cash.
water, cash, exit strategy. Then you'll be fine.
Right.
Mhm.
Maybe a good basement to go into.
Some gloves, a coat, a blanket, water.
Right.
We learned Lydia
Get a
is
big bag.
is like, oh, finally we learned Lydia is like, oh, Melanie is a threat because she doesn't want to be left alone, which I get. Like, I can relate to that. Her husband died 4 years ago, like, especially in that time when the man like did everything. So she's
Or
really,
thought he could do everything.
we're really relying on Mitch coming out every weekend. You know,
Sorry.
he's probably chopping firewood. He's like doing this and that.
Or he's
and-
not doing any of those things, but wants all the credit, and she's out there doing it anyways while he's gone, and
okay.
then she gets no credit.
We don't know. So Melanie goes to get Kathy from school after all this. So
That's
Melanie
a creepy scene.
pulls up at the school. You're not supposed to be looking.
Oh, sorry.
See?
I think
And
it's my
goes
ankle. I don't want to.
inside.
No, you need to learn.
Okay.
Look away, look away.
Learn.
Avert your eyes.
I love it.
Wait,
It's not me being
hold on,
yelled
hold
at.
Wait, what?
It's so good for me. I love it. In this scene,
Yes.
Annie's teaching this class.
this was one of the things I was trying to get someone else excited about. So I'm like, look, there's a bird. And then I was like, there's like 3 birds. And then the scene went on for so long that they walked away before anything happened. But I got excited.
Because you've been along the
Sarah,
for
what are
the
you doing?
journey.
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Now you wanna play.
So Melanie's
Oh.
like,
How is my battery
there's something
running low?
going on. Oh shit. And ask Melanie to wait a minute because they're in the middle of singing a super annoying song.
Oh yeah.
So Melanie goes outside and sits on a bench in front of the gym, and this is the most
long smoke break.
this is the most famous scene from the film.
Oh yeah.
The scene where like all the crows are sitting on the jungle gym equipment. So Melanie's just chilling and like the stuff's happening behind her and she doesn't see it. But then Melanie smoking starts tracking a bird and follows it and sees that, oh shit, there's like hundreds behind her. The jungle gym is now completely covered with birds. And at the same time, these kids are singing the super annoying nursery rhyme. So I
Creepy.
kind of
Yeah,
like
this is
that
creepy.
juxtaposition of her just chilling and smoking that annoying nursery rhyme, like making me
And
stressed.
she kept like looking
And
back,
the
like, when is this
birds.
gonna be over? When is
Yeah,
this gonna
and
be
the
over?
birds just compiling and compiling back there. So then she goes back
Ooh.
in the school.
Ooh, have you done this?
I have not.
We put it on and do that
Oh,
while you're
okay.
talking.
And the kids are getting ready to go to recess. And then
It does make me feel good that they had recess back then.
Annie and Melanie
so velvety.
decide,
So nice.
which I thought was a really bad plan, but whatever. They decide they got to get the kids out and organize a fire drill. That's really soft. And so they tell the kids to play the quiet game, basically. Like, you're gonna walk out of school super quiet,
They said it was a fire drill and you're gonna be super quiet.
super quiet.
I was really upset by this when this happened because the next immediate scene is they're being chased by fucking birds down the street.
How many birds?
A many a bird.
How many?
A many a bird. And
Like hundreds.
if I was a kid, I'd be livid. You told me it was a fire drill, and I immediately walk out and I'm being attacked by birds.
Talk about lack of trust in the academic system.
Give me a heads up.
This is why.
Right. Just be like, there's
Transparency.
dangerous birds.
Yeah.
Cover your eyes and soft parts. We've
Yeah.
had an episode. Protect your soft parts.
We have.
We have.
And we already had the birthday. I mean, I feel like there's precedent
my
already.
hair's getting riled during this
You are.
episode.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
It's the gloves. I feel sassy with them. I want
gonna
to smack
puff up
someone with
my
that glove
jellyfish.
without it on my hand. It would. It's got like.
You
it's
could
sad.
challenge someone to a duel very easily. Scene 14.
Are you scared? I'm making a lot of direct.
Okay, we have more to talk about in these last scenes.
Great,
Focus,
thank you.
folks.
I'm here for this.
Oh, are we all out?
Yeah.
Melanie is, there's more downstairs if somebody wants to go. Melanie is at the town restaurant trying to convince her father, you know, who's part owner of this big newspaper, about the deadly bird attacks, but she's not buying it. And then in one of my favorite parts of this movie, Mrs. Bundy, the resident ornithologist,
What's
yeah.
What's an ornithologist?
right.
a bird studier.
Small town.
No.
There's a local ornithologist.
Well, it's a hobby,
Highly unlikely.
but she starts like,
Women aren't allowed to have real hobbies involving science.
she starts to over explain about that birds couldn't have possibly attacked the children. She goes on and on, facts and fact. Like, what was the one you said earlier? Like,
What? You just
Bird-
bird a high five for me. And you took it away.
no, I'm just
A
talking
low
with my
five.
hands.
Oh.
Birds of different types aren't gonna like
Flock
hang
together.
together
Oh, right.
and
right.
all this stuff. And
She had lots of facts.
she had so many facts, and I really enjoyed her, that character.
I liked
Yeah.
her.
And how like there's so many more birds than people, and if you're gonna go out and try to shoot them,
Yeah,
you'll
she had
never
statistics.
like you will never win because there's way more birds than you, because the one they had all these characters
Oh,
in the
yeah.
restaurant.
Yes, I like that scene.
Yeah, I did too.
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, the end of the world
He's quoting Bible.
guy, the like religious
There's always one of those.
delusion guy, and then there's like the I'm just gonna go shoot them all.
Yeah, he's like, just
guy.
kill them all. Let's
And
just
then
take 'em
there's
out.
like the mom
I mean,
going
to be
through
fair, it's not a
town.
bad idea, but I mean,
Well, no, according to
if you're a
Mrs.
good
Bundy, it's a
marksman,
bad idea because there's
they-
way more birds than you, and you'll never win.
and they hold grudges. But like, what's the alternative? Run down the street screaming, going, ah!
yeah,
He's a really good Alfred Hitchcock is very good at creating like stress, like that whole
Yeah.
thing, like with the
It was
mom
very
and the
stressful.
kids were like, she's like, can you lower your voices? My kids are getting freaked out. And
Yeah,
like it was
yeah.
just like a lot of chaos, and I felt
In like
stressed.
very
in that-
normal.
yeah. I feel like Hitchcock is really good at raising that
in like
tension.
normal situation, like how would a normal person feel and respond in that situation? Like it's very
Stressy.
real.
Mhm.
Like
Stressy.
Chainsaw Massacre type things. It's like it's scary, but I don't think I'd react like any of those people would. I would probably react if a bird was actually attacking my face.
Well, and at this point in the story,
Realistically.
like there's a lot of conjecture. Like none of the people have directly experienced anything. So if somebody, like, say we're at the elk and somebody runs in and is like, the birds are attacking. Like, how would you react?
Especially a foreigner out in, or not foreigner, but
Especially a
she's, like,
fancy lady.
fancy. She doesn't understand our
The
birds.
1%.
Yeah. You would be like,
You'd be skeptical.
No.
I'd be like, are you
Be like,
sure?
okay,
That
like,
sounds
nah.
real. Really?
Birds don't do that.
I mean, I'd probably be like listening, but trying to be like I wasn't listening.
I'd just be sipping my coffee.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm
You'd be
pretending I'm
like-
on my phone, scrolling,
yeah,
drinking my wine, and be like,
He wouldn't be scrolling your
You would
phone
do
at
a
that
little,
time.
you'd have your
That's so
little
interesting.
and do the scrolly thing.
The camera over there.
yeah,
Shoot
yeah.
your camera.
I don't know.
Aw.
Do you want to press the video, Sarah? I can do it if you don't want to.
Well, I don't know if I know how to show you.
It's the video one.
Technological issues.
Don't worry about
These
it.
are the, look how cool these gloves look though.
Yeah, that's the one.
Don't worry, I'm
And
entertaining.
then video.
On still?
You got video and then
It
on.
must have
I
stopped.
don't know why it stopped.
Okay.
You did it.
Yay! It's the magic
Thank you,
gloves.
Sarah. It's a magic gloves.
We both have magic.
So out the window, Melanie sees Seagull swoop down and knock a guy over who's pumping gas. And he looked kind of like a sailor guy or a Navy guy or something.
Oh, that scene was very dramatic.
And then,
With the
so
gasoline.
Mitch and the
Yeah.
police officer race outside because they're gonna like do something about these birds. And then a fire starts, there's a massive explosion. Because when the seagulls knock the guy down pumping gas, like he just drops the gas pumpy thing and like gas starts running. And then there's this other guy who's gonna like start smoking a cigar by his car and he doesn't realize
A
there's
lot of
he's standing in a
bad
pool of
ways
gas
wrong
and everybody's like,
time.
match, and then he doesn't understand and he lights it and then they all blow up. And then this part I really liked. So Melanie's in this phone booth.
Oh yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
scene.
I love that part
Yeah.
because there's all this chaos happening outside the phone booth and she's just in there and then like a bloody guy comes up and is like,
That must have been a hard scene as an actress just to kind of act like all these bad things are happening around you
Mhm.
for it was an extended period of time where she just had to
Again,
be
like, yeah, all their scenes, like, it wasn't like shock and awe for a second. It was like a scene.
extensive.
Yeah. So I think that is something that old timey movies do better than new time. Like now it's like, ah, and then like your adrenaline's gone. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
This is like, it keeps you like, I don't like how I feel right now.
And I think that was probably really gory for the time
Oh, I'm sure.
to have that guy come up all
Well,
bloody and
even
like,
in the beginning, the eye's gone. That came out of
That was a big
freaking
one.
nowhere.
no, I was actually
that.
surprised.
It's
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're showing the.
I know.
Oh,
Because they're so PG up to that point, and that's like what, half into the movie before you
Right,
see
right.
the eyes gone. So you're like, it blows, and you're like, oh, shit's gonna go down,
Mhm.
people are dying because that was the first death.
right?
You're like,
Mhm.
oh,
And then like she couldn't even. I was a little appalled, by the way. Just a quick backup that she didn't tell anybody. Like
well,
the
she was
guy.
too traumatized. They're like, what happened? She's
I
like,
know, but like as she's leaving the house, the person who's there, she just like,
like,
and
she-
she gets in her car, in her truck, and leaves. It's like, but this poor person that now
Now
has
he's
to
gonna
walk
go
in
in on it.
there. Like, could you give him a heads up? Like,
right.
now you
That
don't
would have been
know
her due
this.
diligence.
I mean, but she's,
But I mean,
Of the
that's like
times.
looking at through today's lens.
man, he can handle it.
And she was too
She
fragile.
can't.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's a
yeah.
fragile woman that need to get the F out of there.
Mhm.
But yeah, she could drive.
Yeah.
Should she have been on the road?
I mean, should she be allowed to operate a vehicle?
I mean, if she's that,
What if she was menstruating?
I mean, really though, if you're really upset,
She
you
probably
shouldn't be
was-
driving a vehicle.
She probably was the murderer because she's a woman and menstruating, probably because she was so emotional.
She's probably in menopause.
She was
Actually.
probably an axe
Yeah,
murderer.
that's true.
Just TBH.
Oh, probably. Well,
Oh no.
how dare I feel that way? Your phone is
I
just.
think my storage is too full. It's okay.
Oh.
Back in the diner, everyone's hiding in the back hallway. Melanie goes in. She's like, "Where is everybody?"
That was a weird part too.
And then she finds them all huddling, crouched in the back hallway. And the mother of the two kids who'd been like, "You all need to stop talking about this. You're freaking my kids out." Like
That
she was
the
just like
scene,
on the
yeah.
road and there with her kids having some lunch. And then accuses Melanie of bringing this destruction to the town because she's evil. And then Melanie slaps the shit out of her.
She did a good smackaroo.
I was
on that.
like,
It makes
I've
great
had so
noise.
many feelings because I myself have personally been accused of being
amazing noises.
evil in
We love
that
our-
same way many times,
Have you?
but I've never been able to slap somebody. So yeah, I've
I
had that
slapped my
experience lots of
ex-husband
times.
once. And don't worry, he deserved it.
No, I've been accused of being evil, the devil,
And
Satan,
it's not okay.
by
but
lots of
it was
different
warranted.
people over time. I mean, screamed at but I never really like.
Slap is really satisfying.
Ah,
Like it just
I have to say,
That's
I've
fun.
never, I've
damage,
never
but-
done it other than that again. Fully warranted, and he owned it. Most satisfying thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm not a
Have you-
fighter.
I've never done
Have
it
you ever
since.
thrown a drink on someone? I feel like that
Oh
would
my
be
gosh, I
satisfying
want to do that
like-
too.
I'm not a physical
done a drink?
fighter.
Have you done a
I'm
drink?
not a physical fighter.
Oh,
I mean,
not.
that's more like
It's
just
not
being-
my instinct. I'm more of a freeze or flight.
Ooh, that's a bit much. I would actually pause if it was a red drink because I would probably drink it. But if it was, I'd probably pick up their garbage drink and jump
Oh,
it on
yeah.
them.
I don't know
more
why.
wine? Would you like
It's
me
okay.
That's it. She passive aggressively said it 5 minutes ago. So you're learning, Sarah. I appreciate. I
You don't
appreciate
need. You don't need to
Don't-
do
If
that.
you ask me nicely, I
She
will
just
go get
pinky
it.
touched you on the shoulder.
Only if you
That's
want.
big
to.
ass. Ooh, gross.
Oh, that's a good.
She's being passive
Sure.
aggressive. Hey,
Okay.
Sarah, will you pretty please get us more wine because
course.
we're lazy bitches.
No, I said only if she wanted to too, and she.
I know, but
course.
that's we appreciate you. I'll get
you
it.
guys.
I'll get it next time. Deal?
I'm in the middle, so I have no responsibilities.
Will you let us use the house?
Scene 15. Mitch and Melanie go to Annie's house to get Kathy. They found Annie's dead body outside. The birds got her.
This is where like it got really weird for me because it was all of a sudden like things get serious really. It goes from like because like they were being poked. Like, oh, I have a scratch on my face. Other than the guy that got his eyes ripped out. That was
And killed.
right.
Yeah.
But it was like that, and then it was like they poke you. But then it's now like people are dying quick.
And I really thought it was like unnecessarily kind that they had the whole part where, oh, we can't just leave Annie's body here, and like Mitch carried her and put her somewhere.
Right.
Like that was nice.
It was nice. It was like this, but still like I don't know how to feel about it fully. Like she did so much for him. Like she could have not died by him maybe like shutting her down for real. Like was he sleeping with her on the side to make her feel okay?
Friends with benefits, is that what
Right.
you're saying?
Yeah, like is that what kept her in the town? So maybe it's his effing fault. And yeah, the least he could do is carry her body out.
But it was Melanie's idea.
Mm.
She's like, you can't just leave her like that.
because
Mitch.
he's a dick.
And then he's like, got her and carried. We don't know what. I mean, I assume took her in
And-
the house or to the
And I would like
barn.
to say women can be awful too.
No, everyone can be awful. This isn't a gender thing.
I love petting my hands.
People of
with
all
these girls.
genders can be awful.
These make my hands look really pretty, and actually they're a little bit longer than my actual fingers, so I feel like I got normal.
You look
sized
like
hands.
you're a hand model now. I'm so glad you love those. If you want to know more about the gloves, be our patron on Patreon. It's only $1.
I don't just wear gloves.
So
In the
Kathy tells Mitch and Melanie that Annie was killed trying to protect her, that she pushed her inside and then the
Aw,
birds got her.
That's right, and it was like she saved me. Ugh,
It was such like, oh, that's a real, I felt like that was a real trauma moment.
right,
Like that whole like, like it's my fault.
right.
Because that's a
right.
common,
Yeah, survivor's guilt.
a common
Yep.
belief that stuck with you is like,
birds
I
on
should've
your
Excuse me.
what?
bathtub.
You
like
get
a
you
curtain.
can't. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say you can't just say that in the middle of this podcast.
I mean, I'm like, I feel
You've
like
got
you're singing with herpes. You've got birds. Like what?
You have cans down there? This is all I found.
That's all I
That's
got.
what I was going for.
You can't just say it.
You've got birds.
I've got the birds
You got the birds.
in front of people.
Got a case of the birds.
Got me.
It's very stigmatizing, Sarah.
She's already hit them all.
All right, we're the home stretch, people. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Scene 16. Back at Mitch's house, he's busy boarding up all the windows.
God, your cat's trying to. Yeah.
I was impressed that Melanie was out there like handing a board. I'm like, okay, she's helping, she's
That was good.
participating. Yeah, I was impressed with that.
I mean, but of course she would be.
But I
You
don't
would
know
be.
for this time. Maybe all the women are inside making brandy.
Bread.
Making brandy. Drinking brandy.
So I was like, okay, like she's helping, she's like doing a thing. the birds are gathering outside. Like they keep like showing,
Oh, sorry.
looking out, and it's like more and more
I got
birds.
you.
Like at first they're just here, and then all of a sudden they're like taking up the whole bay. Like it starts to get very scary.
Yeah, it does get creepy.
I wouldn't like that shit.
And
Oh,
then
It's mine.
they discuss like this pattern where the birds mass, they attack, and then they just go away without explanation. And then they mass again. The phone is dead. Melanie wants to reach her father, but she can't. And then Mitch builds a fire to keep the birds out. So
That was smart.
Yeah, that was smart. That was smart.
it
mother.
was smart.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then they're like, what? Let's Lydia. And then he's like, well, just burn the fucking furniture.
I'd burn the
Yeah.
house down. Is that a thing?
Burn it all. Burn it to the ground.
Obi's. I mean, that's why I have so many cats. To kill all the
Hi, Obi.
effing dangerous
Oh, he's
birds.
so cute.
No, I love when he just goes limp mode and he starts purring.
He's a real life stuffed animal. Scene 17.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like, what are they doing in the evening? They're just sitting around or whatever. So later in the evening, Kathy asks if she can bring the lovebirds into the living room, but Lydia's like, no, they're birds. Keep them in the kitchen, Kathy.
I mean, let those things out or like shove them in the fire.
So
At
there's
that
a lot
point,
of
like
this
I'm
waiting.
keeping them in the house. Would you keep them
I
alive?
wouldn't barbecue them.
I would probably murder them somehow.
I mean, in a cage, I probably would put them maybe like, let's put them in the garage or in the
I wouldn't
vestibule.
trust
or
if it would break
something.
out. I'm not gonna let them come in and sever my artery that keeps me alive. I don't know.
Did you guys discuss Annie's death?
Yes.
Yeah, while you're gone. Do you have something to add?
Please. do.
Yeah, that was the end of my theory that she was involved in the bird.
And then
like,
she
in the,
died.
like,
So you thought it was a jilted lover plot?
that she was like a witch and like had something to do with
Oh.
conjuring the birds to attack Melanie because of her acquitted love.
And because she's a
unrequited
brunette.
love.
And the
Yeah.
brunettes are always the witch in these stories.
Yeah, and then she died, and I was like, damn it. She was
I didn't
not
expect her to
involved.
be dead, did you?
No.
Yeah.
I think
And they
that
kind of
that's-
have her face hidden at first. So I
about
was
that.
like, who is that? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
figured
think
it
they did a good job of that too. Again, like with so much plot building in the beginning, like it feels so unrealistic that anyone would die.
Mhm.
One thing I did appreciate for a little realness on this film was that Melanie,
What do you
other
do?
than the really ugly night dress, she wore the same
Will you
outfit through the
release your
whole
cat for me?
movie.
Thank you.
And I thought that was really realistic. Like,
Mhm.
if you're going through some shit, you don't have time to go change your clothes.
You thought her
Right.
nightgown was ugly,
Yes.
and Annie was like, "Oh, that's beautiful," and I'm like, "Is it? I don't think that's kind of."
Well, she said she got it at, like, The gas station,
Were
basically.
they joking? Like,
Like
was she-
sarcasm.
Was
Like
that
Well, I think
sarcastic?
Annie was maybe trying to compliment her up, but Melanie's like, basically, I got this at the truck stop. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you may think this is classy, but it's not. These
Yeah.
are my garbage trucker clothes.
Yeah.
like, usually I wear
I
the
know your standard
wear-
is trash.
French couture.
Me too. Obi wears French couture on his weekend.
French couture.
Okay, so they're, hanging out, waiting for something to happen.
What
And
is this? What flavor is this?
I could kind of relate.
This has a unique flavor.
It's very peppery.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has like a
We're such
Reformation
wine
red.
connoisseurs. It's got a
French
little,
River Valley, Sonoma County.
it's nice. It's flavorful.
is that your compliment?
It's a little
I like it. It's
here.
different than the definitely a different flavor. I like it.
So I've been through like shit
peppery.
in my
say
life.
peppery. Yeah, like there's
And this whole like waiting,
This is
like I
nice.
could definitely relate to that period where they're just kind of sitting there, just like, what's gonna happen? I could relate to that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
cherries, maybe.
And then finally, the birds start to attack. And the birds are getting through Mitch's defenses, like he boarded everything up, but they're like getting around it. Like I think they had one of those storm
Oh,
shutters on
Obi-
the
Obi
outside.
is so in right now.
Oh, he's always in.
Oh,
And they like got in there. So he's like trying to close it and they're like getting his arm and Melanie's like
Oh, right.
not being helpful,
Right.
helping. She's just kind of like
He was like, you guys sit in the chair. Oh, come, get on the chair.
like everybody's kind of helpless in this moment. It's like Mitch is trying. Like I feel like Melanie could have helped more, but whatever.
Yeah.
She's
That's
just
through
a-
our cultural
It's just a woman.
like I was really trying to like set
Our
aside
arms are weaker. You know that, right?
current cultural norms and like see it through that time. Like
Yeah.
that maybe that was normal. Like, you know, you would just sit there and watch the man's arm get picked.
Picked.
So then the birds start picking through the door. I was actually surprised at that. I was like, oh shit, their beaks are strong.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
I didn't expect that.
because they can beak through a tree, not like through a whole tree at once.
Like woodpeckers.
Right, like they can be, I'm just saying they're strong.
Yeah, I mean they were like beaking through that shit.
Right.
Beaking, another word.
I don't know, they're beaking.
It's a word now.
They were beacon.
beaking through.
Then Mitch like pulls what would now be a priceless antique of furniture in front of the door and like hammers into it. I was like,
Yeah.
we're putting nails through that. Okay.
That's like actual
That
wood.
was
Like,
nice.
Yeah, I was very comfortable with
there's
that.
no real wood things anymore except for your
No.
table and my grandma's.
That's why
nightstand.
you keep this piece of shit table because it's real
I
wood.
have one like that where I'm like the leaf doesn't quite fit all the way, but I'm like it's sturdy.
No, this thing won't even shut. But I'm like, it's a real tree.
It's so true. If you order things today, it's all fake, like
Everything's
French
fake.
wood.
Or they're
And-
like, it's rubber wood. I'm like, what is rubber wood?
I've never heard of that. Fake.
It's-
It's called plastic.
Marcus just carved a star with the happy face in our dining room table and thought that it was a fun little picture and that
Oh,
and that it would maybe
cute.
come out like he didn't realize necessarily the permanence of
How
the
old is
image.
he?
6.
So you have to forgive it.
I feel like he might have had a little bit of knowledge that he probably shouldn't have been doing that, but thought it was not really fun.
Right.
A little mini screwdriver that was left out.
I had a tantrum last night about why can't I have nice things to my kids.
Oh my gosh.
It
I
went
do that
nowhere.
every day.
It went nowhere.
Because of cats and
Yeah,
throat.
Right. Yep.
Last scene of the movie, scene 18.
Here we go.
Obie and I are here for this.
Later in the evening, Mitch has fallen asleep in a chair. She's exhausted,
Yeah.
wrestling with those birds. Melanie hears the flutter of wings upstairs and decides she's going to go investigate herself rather than wake him up. Because she's independent and intrepid.
Yeah.
She's proved that.
She goes up the stairs. She opens the door
Wait.
very
Going
slowly.
up the stairs part, I felt scared for the first time.
Yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first
anxiety.
time I was like, like I had that scared feeling.
What did you think was you was going to, or what was gonna happen?
I mean, more birds.
What did end up happening?
Okay,
Right.
We're gonna go out better. Yeah,
so
they did a good job.
she opens the door very slowly, and inside she sees a hole in the roof. And I was actually like, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't realize it had gotten to this point. Like there's a huge hole in the roof
Mhm.
where the birds had like pecked their way through, beaked their way through, and then
Beaked-
I like-
beaked
She
it
like-
right through.
they like show her perspective of looking around, and there's birds perched everywhere in the room, like all on the furniture and like everywhere. I was like, oh, this is bad. And I felt myself tensing up. I'm like, don't move, like you don't want to yeah, exactly, back away, back away.
Again, so good because it's like it is what you expected to have happen. Like again, not shock value, anticipation for what will come, did come, and was
Right.
scary as fuck.
Yeah,
I think that realism is what makes it scary,
It's
right?
scary.
Oh my god,
That's
Obi's
crazy.
living his best life right now. So then Melanie makes a big mistake and shines her flashlight, and then they all fucking attack her.
Okay, this part pissed me off though.
Tell me.
How she couldn't open the door. That like bothered me
Women
so
can't open
bad.
doors
Where she
either.
was like, oh,
It seemed too helpless.
Yeah, and like reaching for the doorknob, like, "No," and then she almost got it, and then, like,
used one of these before.
she like closed the door back again, and I was really frustrated.
And then she
But maybe that was the point. I
passes
was
out in front of the door, so nobody can
Yeah.
help her.
I was really frustrated during that part.
And they're
You
like
wanna be
pushing the door
Melanie,
open.
get it together.
At least
You're
roll
better than this.
stupid lifeless body out of the
Like,
way.
At least
At least.
how is just the
help us to help you, Melanie.
Damn,
You know what? Don't be a victim right now. Because
yeah.
you know how to use the door handle.
Well,
Something's
and I
wrong.
think like
Noise
the
is
attack was
I'm-
very
we're getting-
sustained.
We're getting very loud
Yeah.
for Obi right now. He's
The
very
attack
He was, like, uncomfortable.
went on and on. Like it's like, oh, this is still continuing. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
it went on like a little bit longer than I thought was necessary.
And her noises too were very like
It was a little sexual. Was it? Was it a little sexual?
maybe.
Yeah, because I mean it's
Yeah.
the only sex she probably had the whole time.
Well,
Yeah.
we don't know what happened off screen.
There can be.
I mean, if this is a modern time story, her and Annie would have hooked up. That would have been a whole thing.
like
Mitch would have
unrequited
been like,
love.
what? Nobody likes me now. And then been like, no, fuck you,
No,
Mitch.
Mitch. Like,
And they would have been like on the
Get you.
motor outboard together,
On the
motoring
boat,
off
off
into
into
the
the
distance,
sunset.
being like, bye bye, Mitch. With
Right.
their carafe of vodka.
I'm obviously
Yes.
the overpowering dominant one, so we're gonna be sexually attracted to each other now.
No, yeah, no, Annie would Annie be
No,
Melanie? So Annie would be the pillow princess.
I think
Melanie
so.
would be
I think
The
it like
dom.
it looks otherwise, but I think the power bit would really get to her head.
no, Melanie would have to be in charge.
Right.
Or would
Yeah.
she?
I think later on it might change in the relationship.
Because some
Like
people, like, if they're really in charge in day to day in the bedroom, they like to
right.
Mm.
But,
be the son.
but like maybe that's where it would get exciting for them because she'd go in like, this is who I think I need to be. And then the other one goes, and like, bam, tables turn.
Turn the tables.
You never
Let's do
know.
an alternative ending here.
There's so many like like when they do like the alternate like of either animes or superhero movies where
Like the
they
fan fiction.
thank you. That's fan fiction where it's like, oh,
Alternate ending. I like it. For the
let's
birds.
fan fiction the birds.
Let's do it.
If you are of artistic qualities out there and creative mind,
What would
please
your
send us
ending
your
be?
ideas. We'll send you a bottle of wine.
No, we won't. We'll send you a sticker.
No, you can come on and share depending with approval.
I have a
There's a
personal
lot of
disclosure.
caveats.
Don't let me forget. After
Did you
this.
make an alternate ending?
No,
Like-
after this.
I have something to
ends.
share at the end. Don't let me forget.
No,
I
this is
wanna
just
share
for
with
you
everybody.
too.
Okay,
but I don't
nobody-
want to forget.
Nobody can say any more of that because I already forgot what both of you wanted me to remind you of. There was too much at once.
Just say, hey,
hey,
remind
Remember.
me. I challenge you to a duel.
I think
so-
them off my hands got hot.
Melanie
They
is
are.
very
You're the
bloody.
one.
She's been enduring this very sustained attack.
Just bird abuse.
She
Oh.
passes out. She blocks the door, unfortunately. Mitch and Lydia eventually show up. Like, what are they doing?
I mean,
And they manage
What
to
are they
drag
doing?
Melanie out of the room. And then downstairs, this part I just was like, I loved and I was so confused. He asked, like, give me brandy and bandages.
Right.
And at first, I swear to God, I thought the brandy was for him because it was too much to handle. I'm
Oh.
like, no, I get it. I'd be like the same thing. Like, give me a fucking shot.
I want an old fashioned round ice cube.
Right.
But then, like, it was for her. And then I was like, oh, yes, because brandy used to be medicine.
I
Like,
mean,
get that.
It's not it's
No, it was considered
I know
actually
it's
medicine.
considered I know, but it's
No, it's patented
I know-
as
I
medicine.
know, but it's not.
No, but it was.
I know, but
medicine.
wrongly.
Yeah, but it was medicine.
I mean, it was labeled as such.
But that's what they thought.
I mean, right.
so
Wrongly.
go back to those times.
Right, but it didn't help her heal.
it made her feel a
They
lot better.
thought it was medicine.
It revived her.
it made her less physically.
I've had a
able to
lot
feel the
of
pain.
really tough times, and if I take a shot, I
I've seen
feel
you
better.
headbutt a wall fully intoxicated, and yes, it did not phase you. I get that. It did
No,
not
no,
heal
no.
your face wounds from the brick wall.
No, but that's totally different.
I feel like we
Wait.
should taste test some brandy next time.
Brandy,
For
like a
President Day.
brandy taste testing. I've never had brandy.
I've never had brandy.
disclosure.
That's why.
Are we curious? Are we curious enough?
I'm not brandy curious.
What have you had it?
Yes, I've had everything. I've been everywhere. Like,
How about you
How can
make
I have
us
the song
taste
says?
test? We're baby fresh.
ew. Mitch says they need to get Melanie to a hospital.
What? Ew.
It just sounds really gross.
Baby
It
fresh?
sounds very pedo.
I mean, only if you say it that after.
It's just, I feel uncomfortable.
I'll get
So Mitch decides to go outside and try to get to Melanie's car because they got to get Melanie to a hospital because obviously she's in shock and like super irrational. And she thinks there's birds when there's no birds.
because women can't
Oh,
handle
right, when
trauma
he,
like
like,
that.
He shoved the brandy down her mouth and she came to and she
It's like birds.
Birds, because that's what happened. Birds shove themselves down her throat. So,
It's
or maybe
gross.
it was his penile earlier, and she was having a traumatic response. to
like,
that.
get away from me.
Get away
Hey,
from me.
we didn't see that scene.
I know.
That was scene
I
15.5.
made it up.
Outside the ground is covered with
This
birds.
is part of the fan fiction.
And birds, lots of birds.
Email
Mitch
me.
turns on the radio. Give it my email.
What did you
Faxer,
say?
faxer, do that.
Uh-oh.
And learns most
Fax.
of,
Faxes.
well, who emails? And learns most of Bodega.
Everybody?
So this is important. He learns
Don't fax
most
me. I
of
don't have fax.
Bodega Bay has been evacuated and the military might be sent in. So this is very like end of the world kind of thing.
Mhm.
And
It's like
they're,
post-apocalyptic.
yes, and the attacks have even spread outside of town.
Mm.
So Mitch is driving the car out slowly, and I'm like, "Are you gonna run over a bird?" I don't know. It was very tense.
Do you feel bad
Sounds
about
bad to
running
them.
over a bird at that point?
Well, you don't want to
Mm.
make them attack you. You don't want to set them off.
Right.
But is that what set them off, or were they bloodlusting already over something?
They don't know. One did peck his hand. Remember, he put it
Yeah.
on the handrail going out.
I think the whole thing at the very beginning with the chickens was foreshadowing that they
Wait,
wouldn't.
wait, we're gonna get into reasons. Like 2 sentences. Let me finish this.
Okay, I can drink this.
So he goes into the house, he helps Everett into the car. Kathy has to go back to get those goddamn lovebird. Fuck Kathy. And then the last shot is from the yard in the house.
Kathy, she was trying to save her little birds.
I don't know. I just thought Kathy a little annoying.
Yeah.
Wait, which one was
kind of.
Kathy?
The sister,
Yeah.
the supposedly 11-year-old who looked
Oh,
like she was 17.
Wait, what are your theories on the age gap between?
I thought about that too. I was
Yeah.
doing the math. I'm like, okay.
How old is he's like
If
30
Kathy's
something?
11,
Is that his
Mitch
daughter?
is this age, yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Is that his daughter? That's
No.
why he's there every weekend.
My
It
mind
was
went
his sister.
Okay.
no,
my-
no,
my
no,
mind
no.
went
But
there
was
too.
it his fucking daughter?
the
And
relationship.
that's why he was
between
there every
him and
weekend.
The mom was so weird that could have
'Cause
been
that's
Julie,
way
She's
too
a
big
child of
of a
incest?
Yes.
possibly. I thought it.
Because that makes perfect sense. Because she's so angsty about it but can't own it. And then here's this sister whose age-wise makes no sense, but he's there every weekend. That sounds like a daddy with some guilt problems.
Yep.
Well, some people do have a big gap like that.
No, no.
I mean,
They
I-
do.
that's the innocent.
This is the
thing,
fan
so it was
fiction
just
part.
the-
Because ultimately we may never know. I mean, they do
No.
tell us, but we don't have to believe them. Because his behavior made no sense. He was also kind of a weirdo. For all
What
of
behavior
it.
made no sense?
His behavior. Why would you
Which-
smile when the weirdo drops off the birds for your sister? It's not good for your sister, it's for
'Cause
your
there's a
daughter.
Dog.
And he called the mom darling and
Yeah, he
what was it?
He had like pet names.
Honey.
Honey,
Honey,
darling.
That's what I thought. It was his
Right.
wife.
There was another.
That's
name
why
he
I was
called her, too.
confused.
Made her intentionally look young. Like she had gray hair. They wanted to make a point, but they did not make
I
her
honest
look
to God
old.
thought at first it was his wife because he called her honey and kissed her on the cheek.
I think they said it was reading between the lines.
That's why Mitch didn't go for Annie.
Right, because he had obligations and he knew he had obligations, but he
This is
was,
taking
a
a turn.
lord.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
can
Don't
I have
wipe
a
your
towel?
go in the. Why is Sarah your bitch?
Where?
I didn't say that. Why do you have to say that?
I'm closing the door.
I'm
Okay.
blocking it.
No.
It's dripping onto my
In the
pants.
dirty laundry, just grab her.
It's
thing.
dripping on my pants instead of the floor. That's the
Let's
only
talk
reason I'm not
serious.
moving.
Let's
Get
talk
your sweater.
serious.
No, it's just
Oh,
the
that's
pants.
so lucky.
No,
This
these
is
are
like
dark
when I
jeans. I'm
smelled
okay.
wine in my private practice and I was trying to catch it in my.
It's not though, because it landed on my dark jeans.
Y'all
Well,
know what?
I
I've
didn't
seen
get
so
on my
many
sweater.
clients
I'm
in that
good.
room since then.
I'm good.
And every time they come in, I'm like, please do not comment on all the wine spills. And they haven't. No, they haven't. I'm just like, look away.
Oh, you're thinking that.
That's why I'm.
So what are your theories about what's going on with these birds?
Okay, so after my Annie theory was canceled out and she died, I think that the birds were pissed that she brought the lovebirds into the town and they wanted the lovebirds to be set free out of the cage. Or there was like a sickness or an infection that was driving them all
Toxic allergy.
crazy, and
Mhm.
which you confirmed was a real thing.
It
So
was a real
Right.
thing.
yeah.
I think that the town was already sick with.
Oh yeah, because the little girl got sick too, which was weird.
I think the
That
town was
weird.
already sick, and the addition of lovebirds and this outside person
Mhm.
threatened the ecosystem of sickness and possible incestual relationships. And it was a bigger like
Mm.
clashing of, we will not accept this outside entity, the lovebirds, this woman, into our system that we have established.
Mm.
Okay.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
a bigger, like,
Yeah.
this is the mom, this is the family dynamic that they've established in this like secluded area. Like, let us be, or we will kill you off. And if you
Mm.
want to survive, you're gonna have to fight to earn it here, because we have established our way of being.
Mm.
I loved it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more about like what
Mhm.
happened in this fountain in Europe. You know, they kept alluding to it, but they didn't really give us any
Can you say that
information.
part again? Because I
The
don't.
fountain where she jumped in naked.
Like, was she
and-
naked or was she pushed? It was this whole thing.
I
It was the
feel-
court case.
Yeah,
It was alluded
Related,
to.
though.
I feel like the whole court case at the beginning was just like the reason that he like knew her,
Showing that
and
he's a lawyer.
But I feel like if you're gonna bring up someone naked in a fountain, you need to show some images or something. Like, I
But-
want to know more.
I think it was like her whole like why she didn't fit in, why she didn't fit into that place, why she didn't fit into this family. It just kind of gave again this like, if mom and son had a thing and had a daughter, this woman doesn't fit into this, like, it's just like another thing. I really think this is what happened.
I mean,
I thought it too, so.
Because
this
this
is
is Hitchcock.
theory.
This is Hitchcock, and like I've seen a few different films of his, and like they
And
are
his name is Cock. You
psychological
can't overlook
aspects.
that.
We can't overlook that.
I can't overlook
as-
that.
His
part
films
of
just
this-
honestly aren't as straightforward as you think they are from what I've seen of other films. So
Yeah.
to me, like, it does seem like a very straightforward film.
He leaves room for interpretation.
Right,
And
right.
for your own mind to play into the darkness. of
Right.
what's,
God,
like,
he's bringing out the
scary.
darkness in your mind.
Yes.
The gossip column, like, maybe it's not a bad thing in some ways, because I think it makes you think about things differently. Because you could watch that movie and just call it for what it is and be done and be like, well, that was a boring, lame movie. And like, yeah, there were some scary parts, but it's birds. But I do think that he is a really good
Master
writer.
psychological.
And there's a whole
thriller.
psychological underpinning that you have to
Yes.
pay attention to,
Mhm.
and create, it like lets you create the story.
Mhm.
I've been looking at birds differently ever since then, to be honest.
It's a bunch of assholes, right?
I mean, around here, we have a lot of doves.
Oh yeah. My sister had one for a while now.
My dad can
They
make
live in
the
the
sound.
tree back there. And then we have tons of quails
Those are so
out
cute.
front.
Are those not the cutest? They like
I hate them because they all run across the road. I'm like, I don't want to kill your whole family in one.
They're
little
No,
sweet-
that's
cute.
yeah, those are the main birds we have around here. But we have crows, we have a lot of squirrels, as I've mentioned.
crows just look
Also,
devious and ominous and I don't know. They have this like,
'Cause they're dark.
yeah, they just have
They're the
like
dark
eyes,
bird
like they know.
sisters.
What were your theories on what was happening?
I
Like
thought there was
throughout?
something with the lovebirds because I think that like I've never agreed with caged birds. I've never had a caged
And he made
bird.
that,
I
he
hate
made
that
that-
too.
he made that statement at the beginning too of like,
Yeah.
you
Feel
feel
bad.
bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
don't you feel
maybe bringing
bad?
the caged birds in there was
And like these wild
something.
birds.
always felt bad about that, honestly.
But
Yeah,
but-
because birds need to fly. They're
No, I think-
wings.
I think that was a statement again, like culturally saying for her, like calling her a caged bird, kind of like tempting her to break out of her cage.
I don't know why the
And then-
caged birds.
And then she came and brought them to him. Like, I don't know.
Do you think the birds are gonna follow them since they took the caged birds?
Oh, yeah, because
Out
that's
of
my
the
question, are they gonna make it out of town?
No, I think the birds are gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna die too. I don't think they're.
No, I don't think they're gonna make it. They're all gonna die. This isn't a romance novel. This is a horror
They're
story.
gonna all
Let
die.
the lovebirds out of the cage. Would it like
No,
calm?
No,
no,
I think
no.
they're dead.
too
no. I
far
think
gone?
they're gonna go for the
Did you see
eyeballs.
all those birds in the yard? They were amassed.
Why are those lovebirds that had to get shipped expedited gonna care a shit about these people?
Yeah.
No, no.
No, it's going down.
It was
They're all gonna
too
die.
far gone at that point.
They're gonna die.
Okay.
All
Until
right.
next
Wait,
time.
I have something.
Ha-
What?
So on our last episode, in the beginning, we had orbs that were on screen.
What?
We
And
did?
I'm gonna show you guys. And if you look closely, there's this light orb that like goes
In this
up
room?
in this room. It goes up in front of the screen and then it goes down and out.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I'm serious. And then it goes like out to the side,
Shut the
And then
fuck
it
up,
goes-
Sarah.
back up again. No, I'm
I'm
serious.
sorry to that in your face.
That's it.
Sorry.
Hold on. I'm gonna challenge you.
What is
You
happening?
can tell- I'm gonna fight you in your face.
Okay, we're gonna have a discussion about this after. If you are our patron on Patreon, which is only $1, you will learn about this because whatever happens with this,
Help me. Thank you.
we will continue. Okay, if you haven't listened to our last podcast,
No, he's adorable. He
we
was in
talked
one of our
about
photos.
the discrimination and stigma that redheads experience, and what did we talk
What?
about our last podcast? What did you talk about?
Murderers of crows.
So crows. So that was like coinkydinky.
Winky
That
dink.
was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. They're freaking smart and actually will hold grudges against you and pass that down to generations. So be nice to birds. Don't hit them with your car.
Until next time.
No,
No, like
give it back.
What's
You
until?
can
Do
mix
you
it
not
up.
have an
Oh.
Until next time. I need a moment. Until next time.
I think respect nature, really.
Don't be a loud.
Circle of life.
Oh, we have to come up with like a.
Are you?
God,
Is this the first time using a glue stick, Sarah?
Watch some Alfred Hitchcock movies. They're good for the soul.
okay.
Bye.